Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone, and welcome back to day 4 of V Connect. Good morning, Nancy Maverick Lindemer, my trusted co-pilot. How are you today, Nancy?
How are you? I'm awesome. How are you doing?
I am pumped. It's day 4. I'm a little bit sad because I know what's going to be coming in a few hours' time, the end. But for now, we have got so much exciting content planned for today. Guess what? Remember we set that target that we would like to surpass the Woodlands number in 2002, IACC's highest ever attended conference, 521 people.
Do we do it?
Had 600 unique attendees in the first 3 days only. And that's not even considering our Australia Asia Pacific friends who are joining us today for the first time. So welcome, Australia Asia Pacific members.
Welcome indeed. Good day.
Good day.
Now, Mark, I have heard that some of our members from Australia Asia Pacific thought that this was the 4-hour happy hour, not the 4 minutes that we're going to do later. So I'm not quite sure what we're going to do with that, but I have a feeling we're going to figure it out.
Remember, Nancy, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. So I have the wine pack here, the Pinot Grigio, of course, from Australia. But I'm not sure whether they misunderstood or re-engineered this into a 4-hour happy hour. Either way, we'll go with it.
Fantastic.
So, Nancy, tell me, what were some of your takeaways from yesterday? Yesterday was loaded, full of great people and great sessions. What did you take away?
Oh my gosh, so much. I think, the global innovation session was fantastic. And it was so good to hear that everyone is still weaving those sustainability efforts into the things that they're doing. And I think that's so refreshing and exciting for us as an industry. It was great hearing from Andrew and Creston about what's happening with the ambassadors and the plans for virtual connecting in our regions here in the Americas. It's an exciting time, and I love that we are adapting as we go. And who doesn't love Chuck and talking about customer service? That's the core of our business. It always has been. And although it's going to look a little different going forward, taking care of our people, to take care of our clients and our customers is such a backbone to what we do. It was such a great session. What did you think, Mark?
Well, I thought everything changes and nothing changes. You're quite right. Customer service still at the heart of it. We've just got to change or pivot a little bit and deliver it differently. What did I think? I loved that last session with Jesse States from MPI and our very own Mike van der Vieva, just talking about how we can respect physical distancing but still create great meeting environments. I mean, they were freewheeling, they were super creative. Some of those ideas were totally crazy, but you know what? I thought if every one of us went back to our properties, had those sort of brainstorming sessions, I'm sure they could come up with some really cool ways to maximize the spaces they've got in their venues and go out to customers, take these ideas forward and show that they're ready to welcome them back.
Absolutely.
So we're going to kick off with our first poll of the day. Let's test the water a little bit. If we can bring our first audience, get ready with your fingers on your buttons. But our question is, has IAC Virtual Connect this week helped you prepare for how you're going to work in the months to come? Okay, everybody's hitting that poll. Okay.
There we go. Awesome. Well, it looks like, from what I can see, we're doing our job and we're taking care of people, that they're learning new things and in ways that they can implement new ideas into their business, which is fantastic.
We'll do it again next week. We'll just keep going.
Tell the tech team.
Okay, well, one of the comments that we got yesterday, amongst many, was from James Russ, Director of Operations at CCT Venues in London. And his comments to us was he thought he was incredibly impressed with what has been going on this week. He thinks everyone involved, presenters, speakers, have all been brilliant. He's been dipping in and out as he's been, running his business. And he said that's what he's really loved about it, that ability to come in when he can, learn, drop out, and then pick back up again. So that was great to see.
Yeah, and that's so fantastic. And as a reminder to all this content's available on our YouTube channel. We're loading it in at the next evening. So it's available to you for your future reference to share with your team. And if you missed anything, you can jump back in and see it. Yeah. So many folks have really enjoyed what we've been doing over the last 3 days. Do we have one more in us?
I reckon we've got more than one more in us, but let's make the most of this. And I tell you what, Nancy, although we normally save the thank yous to the end, we're going to do it the other way around, because I want to make sure that while everyone is here, we go center stage. We're coming to the end of what's been an iconic, momentous week for IAC. And it takes a special group of people to be able to create a virtual conference. And our team, who have been working behind the scenes, have been absolutely incredible. And I would like to take this opportunity to bring some of those forward so that we can see, appreciate them, and give them all, let's say, a virtual round of applause, because audience, you can do that, and Nancy and I can give them a real one. So first of all, I would like to welcome Mehdi Ahmadi and Michael Kelly. Now, Mehdi has been our conductor, the person that has made sure every slide is there when it needs to be. Every person comes in on camera when they need to be. He's made Nancy and I look, not like amateurs, which has been incredible. And we've got Michael Kelly there. Michael, every graphic we've seen, which has been incredibly impressive, you've been working. I know each one of those has taken 6 hours to render. You've been working day and night. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Mehdi.
You're welcome.
Pressures. Awesome job. We love it. And next we're going to bring up Miss Sabrina and Christian, and they're also working hard behind the scenes. Christian editing all those videos that you see, and there's a lot of them, and putting those all together. Get to see his smiling face. And Sabrina, if you've had any technical issues or needed support along the way, that's your girl. She's been helping you out, and we can't thank them enough for being there and working and doing everything that they're doing, all sorts of odd hours of the day and night to get us through. They did a fantastic job. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, guys. Last but not least, I need to bring up Tim Lukey, aka Bob Heger Jr., and Kate Bacon. Tim has been, again, the master conductor. He's been testing us, pushing us, trying us, changing stuff, and we kind of dealt with it okay, but we appreciate that. Kate has been there and has not only handled all the registration of over 1,000 registered people, but Kate has also been there making sure our speakers are looked after, have come in when they need to, and has done that faultlessly. So Kate, Tim, guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for our audience today, showing their love and appreciation as well for the IAC Rock team. So now it's my pleasure to segue in nicely, and I will do that with my koala bear, which I brought back from Brisbane this year. A message to the IAC Australia Asia Pacific chapter from their president, Hendrik Karsten.
Hello, my name is Hendrik. I'm the chapter president of IAC Asia Pacific, and I'm sitting here by myself in an empty conference center, and hopefully, we'll be filling it very, very soon. It's been daunting times for all of us, and luckily, that we are now on the road of recovery. But I do think, that there is still a long way ahead of us, and a lot of businesses, will have been hurt in the process. So I'm honestly thinking, that hoping that everybody is going to be okay. Of course, this doesn't mean that IAC is not going to be existing anymore. It's actually stronger than it ever was, especially with the IAC Americas with a record attendance of 600 participants. Although they're not sitting in the same space, at least everybody's logging in and still getting all the learning they need. I wish you all a great and fantastic couple of days, and I'll hope to be part of it soon again. And I honestly hope that we can fly as we used to, and go on really nice holidays, which I'm looking forward to. So wishing you all well, and again greetings from IAC Australia Asia Pacific, and wishing you all the best. Bye bye.
I am very proud to work in the hospitality industry right now. There are so many good stories of hotels supporting healthcare workers, providing meals to their own furloughed employees, and donating food to local food banks. We've shown that we know how to adapt and support our local communities, and at the center of it all are amazing hospitality professionals.
I am attending IACC because the conference offers a resourceful and broad knowledge that we must have to deliver successful events on the post-pandemic crisis.
I believe conference venues should position themselves to leverage technology in order to offer a digital experience.
My name is Lisa. I work for Fleck Hospitality. I am motivating and caring for my colleagues at this time. Every morning on our group chat, we send funny memes or a good story to each other just to get the day going. We have weekly Zoom lunches where we play a fun game such as charades or two truths and a lie. It's been a great way to see the team and to see everyone laugh.
Hi, my name is Brandon. I found the work-life balance while being at home during the quarantine has been quite challenging, especially with having 2 children in the home. It's just taught me to adapt and adjust my schedule accordingly to make sure I can meet the needs of my children and the client.
I'm excited to attend because it is the perfect opportunity for meetings and event planners like myself to take a closer look at current trends and insights that would help redefine the industry, especially now that the world is in a global pandemic.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure now to introduce our first session of the day. Another powerful panel session of industry experts, and it's going to be delivered by our very own Doc Emmett Brown. Mike van der Viva, you and the Doc, Mike, buying your shirt from the same shops, I'm sure. But what an uncanny resemblance. It's my absolute pleasure to welcome our next panel session, new foods that you're likely to see in tomorrow's menu. Over to you.
Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, as the case may be, depending on where you are. That was a really nice way of putting me across there. I think maybe today my hair, which is slightly different compared to yesterday, looks even more like that picture. And what about this shirt? I'll hear Mark's comments with pleasure after the session. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here for the session, which is called New Foods You're Likely to See in Tomorrow's Menu. I'm going to shortly introduce to you our panelists. We have 6 knowledgeable experts who are giving us an answer to the question, which foods do you think will be the star performers on the menus of tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, and into the future? They have come up with a real incredible variety of answers, and in the next 50 minutes or so, we are going to share those answers with you, and we are going to give you the opportunity to ask them questions. They will also share with you the reasons why they think these foods will be the winners, what kind of themes are underlying their choices of these foods. Before moving to the panel, could we please have a big round of applause and thumbs up passing through the screen for our friends from Australia? Yes, that's it. Even more, because they got up at something like 6 or 6:30 in the morning to be with us, which I think is an incredible feat, much more courageous than us Europeans. It's merely 11 o'clock in the evening here, which is still fine. So lovely. Thank you for being with us from Australia. Let me introduce the panel to you, and I'm going to do it in a, let's say, a merged order of courtesy and alphabet. So let me start, first names. Let me start with Jessie States, who's going to come online. She's the director of MPI Academy. And by now, I think you've seen her a couple of times, and you know that she's got the DNA of the meetings industry in every cell of her body. Hi, Jessie. Next is Mariella McIlwraith, who is with the Events Industry Council. I think if ever we've had a person on our panels who's an opinion leader in the meetings business, it's Mariella, and we're really happy to have her as today as well. Next, Tracy Stuckrath, the founder and president of Thrive. Tracy has a wealth of experience in creating safe and inclusive food experiences. Welcome, Tracy. Hi. I'd like to introduce to you Chef George Sideras, who's the executive chef with Nestle International. It was difficult to choose between where I was going to put him in the alphabet, Chef or George, but fortunately it didn't make any difference for the order because the other two are going to come after you in the alphabet anyway. So next is Murray Hall, who I think we've all seen on several occasions already. Great to have you again with us, Murray, the executive chef of Dolce Hotels and Resorts. And last but not least, but you know, with a P for the first letter of your first name, you tend to come a bit late in the session. Patrick Burwald with us. He's the vice president of food and beverage with Benchmark. And with that, we have all our panel present here. Now, the first thing we're going to do is, could all of you get your notebooks, please? Because I've asked everybody to prepare a piece of paper. And could you, yep, excellent. And could you write in capital letters, very big, a food you detest? And it could be because you think it's just filthy. It could be because you think it's totally unpresentable. It could be because you think it's totally unsustainable. You can choose the reason, but which is the food that you most detest? Write it, and could you hold it up in front of the screen, please, so that we can see it? Mushrooms, okay. Split peas, turnips, Brussels sprouts. All right. Yeah, they're really disgusting, Jesse. I can see the face. Yeah. Mariella, what was it for you? Paella. Okay.
Only if it's not made by my mother, in which case it's my favorite of all foods.
Really? And what is the reason for that? What do other people do wrong?
Well, it's not that the people are doing anything wrong. It's just that it's not the flavor that I remember from my childhood, and so because of that, I just find it very hard to have it anywhere else.
Right. Okay, and of course, there's an interesting question to ask about the connection between paella made by your mother and your surname, which is totally Scottish or Irish. Would you like to disclose that relationship?
Well, my family's originally from Argentina, so.
Right. Okay. Okay. And Patrick, you wrote up durian fruit. Yeah. Who of the others has tried durian fruit? Raise your hand if you have. Okay. Murray, do you think is detesting as well?
As soon as you get over the smell, actually, it tastes delicious.
Yeah, but the smell is overriding. You're not allowed to take durian fruit in public transport in Southeast Asia when they're ripe, because you'll chase everybody out of the bus. Right, good. With that brief introduction, we're now going to decide who is going to do the turn taking, or how we're going to do the turn taking. As we're going to do 3 presenters, then questions and answers, 3 more presenters and questions and answers. And the panelists themselves are going to decide who's going to go in which order. And for that, I'm going to ask them questions. So you will decide, but you'll be guided by me. The first question, for which I would like you to use again a piece of paper, is: can you make an estimate of the annual turnover of the events industry worldwide in 2018? And events industry, I mean everything. All events, all gatherings, sports. What was the annual turnover of that industry worldwide? Make an estimate.
What do you mean by turnover?
Turnover. Invoicing sent out all over the world to everybody.
You mean dollars?
Sales, if you will. The person who gets closest will be allowed to go first. Okay, 1.5 trillion, and that's 100 billion. Okay, I can't see Chef George. Can we have George, please, on? Yes, that's really close. You go last, Diane. Okay, 650 million. Murray? And George, if you can't be on screen, in the chat box. Anyway, this is a very easy. It's 1.1 trillion. So the person closest is Jesse. Jesse, you can go first on presenting your 2 foods and the reasons underlying it. And I'd like to have the slides on, please, if we can, Mehdi, so I can click to Jesse's slides quickly, which are somewhere in the back of the presentation. You get a sneak preview of the other ones. Here you are. Jesse, your theme foods.
Brilliant. So I have 2 food predictions for the next 2 to 5 years. One related to personal or attendee health, and the other related to earth health. And so that's my kind of theme for the day. The first one I'll talk about are probiotics. Some of you may have experienced use of probiotics on your own personal use, but we're seeing the rise of attendees who are interested in having these types of options at their meetings and events. So what we're looking at when I say probiotics, we're talking about a $50 billion industry that's expected to grow to about $80 billion by 2025. These are live microorganisms, yeast or bacteria, that appear in fermented foods or in supplements. And it's really, really important to digestive health. So when you're talking about the health of your attendees, you're talking about their mental and their physical health. I think it's also important that we talk about their digestive health as well. So we're starting to see more and more of our meeting and event attendees are experiencing or using probiotics in their own homes, and they're expecting to see these types of foods at meetings and events. They have long-term impacts on health and wellness, from heart health to digestive disorders to allergies. And what we're really talking about, in addition to additives, it's fermented dairy like yogurts, pickled foods, some soy products, and importantly, drinks, cultures, gut shots, kombucha, things like that. And as you're looking at the types of drinks that you're giving your meeting and event attendees, more and more you're going to see, aside from the diet colas that they've wanted in the past, they're going to start asking for these kinds of healthy drinks as well.
Right, Jesse, I believe that according to some estimates, all of us carry somewhere between 1 and 2 kilos of bacteria in our gut. Is that right?
It sounds correct, but it's having the right balance in your gut is what gives you that digestive health.
Right.
And these are usually longer term things. It's not something your attendee is going to kind of instantaneously feel better after ingesting this, but it's something that's part of their diets already, and that continuation through your meeting or event are going to be really important for them.
Excellent. And what about the food and
sorry, go ahead. The other one that I wanted to talk about was plant-based foods and meats. The consumption of meat alternatives increased in sales from 37% over the past 2 years, from 2017 to 2019, 37% increase in meat alternatives. 16% of US consumers say that they eat some kind of plant-based alternative to meat or dairy products. But what's interesting to me is that another number, it's not that 18%, it's that 89% of people who are eating plant-based foods are not vegetarians or vegans. They're people who eat meats as well. They have just added plant-based foods to their existing diets. So it's not something, if you take a look at your attendee list and you say, oh, well, only 10% of my attendees are vegan or vegetarian, so I don't want to have a plant-based menu or opportunity. 89% of those who won't list themselves as vegan or vegetarian would be interested in having this option. So we're talking about those Beyond Meat and Impossible Burgers that you've seen so much about in recent months. And what's interesting to me is the CEO of Impossible Burger, it says, you know what, we're not trying to find a meat alternative. That's not what we're after here. What we're trying to do is create a new meat out of plants, which is what they've done a really good job at. But in addition to that, in addition to those plant-based foods, we have blends coming into the market. And you might be familiar with blends on the meat side. You might have like a chuck and a brisket blend, for example. But we're also seeing pea protein and beef blends. We're seeing plant-based chicken nuggets that have pea protein, egg white, and flaxseed in them, for example. So these blends, I think, are going to be playing a greater role in meeting and event menu building as we move forward.
Okay, great. Very interesting suggestions. Probiotics and plant food meat blends. Here's an important small issue, but maybe it will become big at the end for all of the audience. I'd like you to take a piece of paper and a pen as well, because I'd like you to make some notes, because at the end of the session, we're going to do a poll. And what's going to happen in the poll is that you can decide, out of the foods that each of the panelists have presented, you can choose the one which you think is the most promising star for tomorrow's menus. So at the end of the session, we're going to decide, out of all of the suggestions that you're going to have on screen, which is the one you like best, and the panelist who wins will get a very inspiring prize not to take home, which would have been the face-to-face version, but they will receive it home. Okay, thank you, Jesse. Let's move on to our second presenter. And this time, the question I'm asking you, and Jesse, you're okay to participate, but you can't win anymore because you've had your turn. So What is the maximum percentage of sawdust found in grated Parmesan cheese in US supermarkets? What is the maximum percentage of sawdust found in grated Parmesan cheese that you can buy in US supermarkets? Write it up on your piece of paper, and I'm quickly going to interrupt the presentation so we can read that. We have 3%, 10%, 20%, 5%, 10%. Okay, Tracy, you're up next because the percentage which has been measured, and they simply call it cellulose, so that it doesn't sound so disgusting, but it's 8.8%. Mehdi, can
Great.
we have slides back on? 8.8%, yes. So let's go to Tracy's. There we are. Tracy's Your Theme and Foods. Take it away.
Thanks, Mike. So that actually brings what the question that you just asked brings a good point up in a lot of things. And what Jesse was talking about too is just added things that are in our foods that we don't really know about or they don't talk about because they're as different descriptives, right?
Mm.
I don't know if they want to hide them or not, but in some ways they are. So, which brings me to mind here, this Moulay sausage. It is locally sourced meat. They actually have, they get their pork and their beef from farms across the country to minimize the exposure if, like we're in the meat shortage right now we're having. So their farmers or their ranchers are all over the country. So they're not actually prohibited from reducing their production because it's based on one ranch that they're doing. So, and that really adds on to the local sustainable sourcing of your animals. And because of COVID-19 right now, consumers are going directly to the farmers to buy their chickens and their pork and their cow or the beef directly from those ranchers because they know who those ranchers are. And they're buying whole cows and whole pigs and sharing those with other family members as well to get custom cuts. And so I think that's going to be way that we go forward. It will work really well with IACC properties because they're smaller properties versus a big convention center. But to get the smaller venues to utilize those local products from within a certain region. And I was actually talking to two chefs yesterday in Boston. They have a restaurant and they only source 100% of their products from farmers that they have visited, as well as they believe in their practices. And they actually butcher all of their beef and chicken and pork in their own restaurant and serve it fresh there. Granted, it is a small restaurant, but again, it'll work great for IACC properties. And then the Capello's pasta that I have there, that is actually a gluten-free pasta that's made with almonds. So if you're going to serve that, you definitely need to make sure that you're labeling it for allergens. But both of those companies are out of Colorado and they actually have worked together. So looking at those local companies from your regions and from your own cities that work together and can provide options for you that are not being transported all the way across the country. Okay. So those are my two options.
Okay, and that's Capello's, but they are from Denver, you say?
They are from Denver. They are actually in grocery stores. Both of them actually sell to wholesale companies. So you can get, I know Moulay's is sold on the DOT system. So if you're looking to purchase them, I can actually get you the tear sheet on with all the numbers for purchasing their meats or their products.
Right. But the idea is stay close to home. That's the underlying idea behind your foods. That's your theme, right?
Exactly. And consumer supported agriculture, which is CSA boxes. The farmers that I have talked to recently, the last couple of months, their orders have skyrocketed like 400%. And one of my chef farmers actually said he wants to take the chairs out of his van so he can put more boxes in delivered to his customers.
Right, or put more sawdust into his Parmesan cheese if he. But
exactly, yes. So that's what consumers are looking for is a lot more of that locally sourced, direct from the farmer, and or if you're growing it on your own property, what can you do that way?
Excellent. Thank you very much
You're
for
welcome.
those suggestions. Locally sourced meat and vegetables, and then combine the meatballs with gluten-free pasta and a lemon sauce, and it looks delicious again. Good. We're going to move to our third presenter. So Jesse, Tracy, you can still guess if you want to, but of course the turn will go to one of the other four. And let's do something completely different. Can you see the bookcase behind me there?
Yeah.
Okay. How many books are in there? Just a quick guess. Write it up. And once again, the person who gets closest wins and is the next person to go in row. 1700, 300. Let me just quickly get rid of the presentation so we can see that better. 2000, 425, 1700, 212, and 350. I was referring only to that bookcase, the one in the which means that Mariella wins because you're close. There's 144. I counted them yesterday. Mary, yeah, great. So let's find Mariella's slide so she can introduce her theme and foods. And I have two for you, Mariella, so you can click on the slide for your second one if you want to go ahead. Thanks. 144 books there.
First, thank you very much for talking about the economic impact of our industry. It's such an important message. I wanted to say that you were both right on that question because, Mike, you were referring to the direct impacts, and Jesse had added in indirect impacts as well. So good for both of you for getting that number right. And then in terms of the theme that I suggested, I would really like us to focus on more biodiversity in our menu planning. And one of the reasons for that is that we rely on a very limited number of crops. So for example, there are 30,000 edible plants, but we cultivate less than 150 of them. And that's a really big opportunity for us to educate people about some of the different types of foods that are available. I also wanted us to look at drought and pest tolerant
Mariella,
crops as well.
excuse me, I would like to interrupt you because I think that comparison merits a real thumbs down from everybody who is in this session. Could we have a real thumbs down from everybody? We can do it, panelists. We can do it live on screen.
Yeah.
If you have 30,000 potentially, and we're cultivating only 150, that's really a deploring state. So
absolutely. And I also wanted to pick this topic for today because we are right in between two very important days. Yesterday was World Bee Day, and tomorrow is the International Day for Biological Diversity. So it just so happened that our session fell in perfectly between these two themes. So the two ingredients or the two items that I've suggested are looking at more pest tolerant crops as protein options. So here we have an example of jackfruit being used as a substitute for pulled pork tacos. So this is helping us to look at some of the crops that we might be able to use that are both pest tolerant and are drought tolerant as well. I'm very conscious of the water and the carbon footprints of the protein choices that we make. So looking at some alternatives is really beneficial. And if we can look at the next slide as well, the next one has a different biodiversity topic here, and that is looking at ancient grains. And we, as we mentioned, we rely on very few food crops, and there are a great selection of ancient grains that you can incorporate into your menus, and many of them will be gluten-free as well. So it's a great opportunity for us to expose people to new and different items. And also from our economic impact study, we know that events touch 1.5 billion participants every year. And so if we can start exposing all those people to new ingredients, it's just such a great opportunity for us to amplify the impact of the choices that are made. Right. And I know that Murray has some great ideas for some ancient grain recipes. He was mentioning it on our speaker email correspondence in advance. So.
Okay, excellent. So it's biodiversity as a theme with jackfruit and ancient grains as the two ingredients. Thank you. Now, while I'm going to prod on, our attendees to ask questions and submit them to Nancy and Mark, who behind the scenes will be putting those on screen for us. Murray, Marietta just mentioned that you have some great ideas for using ancient grains. Can you share maybe one of those with us?
Yeah, one of the ideas I use for my ancient grains is to actually not cook the grain, but to actually sprout the grain. So if I'm looking at something like chia seeds or flax seeds, what I'll do as a breakfast component, I'll take that with a little bit of yogurt, or it could be a coconut yogurt, put it in there with some dried fruit, some dried herbs, some different sort of nuts, and then you leave it in the fridge overnight, mixing it all together, not cooking it, coming back the next day, and the yogurt and the moisture will be absorbed by the seeds, and you get a beautiful, non-cooked, high-packed, nutritional, almost granola protein porridge kind of out of it. So that's one of my favorite things to do. Very easy as well.
Yeah.
Can you send me that recipe?
Yeah, no problems.
Thanks,
I do it all the time.
That's Tracy.
Sounds a bit like bean sprouts, huh? Do they look similar to bean sprouts as well when you use them?
No, it comes out very much like a porridge or a house-made granola. So if you take a yogurt and you mix granola into it and you mix it all together, it comes out like that. But the trick is not cooking it to not cook out the fiber, the amino acids, the omega-3s, the omega-6s that are in it, all the vitamins. When you don't cook the grain, you get 100% of that vitamin nutritional impact in your dish.
Right. Any of the other two chefs, George, Patrick, ideas about what you can do with ancient grains?
I have been using ancient grains for a long time and tend to make them into risottos when I'm trying to introduce them into a population. Risotto being the technique in cooking them. And then you can start adding additional flavors and really drive. There's a great aroma with that. There's a comfort level with the ancient grains, and I find people are very accepting of it. And I'd love to send you a recipe, but to me, it's always about technique. So I can share a technique with you. You'll have to come up with your own recipe.
Okay, here's a comment, not so much as a question. I prefer scrapple, which is a comment from Felix Mayetta, a dear colleague of our three chefs. And I see, Patrick, that brings a really big smile on your face. Explain the smile.
He's muted.
I think you're muted. Could you unmute yourself, Patrick?
Sorry about that, Mark. Yeah,
Okay.
it's an interesting dish. It's got some mysterious ingredients in it. We'll just say that, but it's kind of an indulgence and
not durian fruit by any chance as a mysterious ingredient.
No.
Okay.
In terms of parts of the pig, let's say. But it's an interesting product and fun to play with.
Okay. Good.
Personally, I think it makes durian taste good in comparison. So
tastes do differ. All right. I think we can move on to our next batch of three presenters, and we have the three gentlemen left. So you're going to contend the next spot available. And the question I have for you is, in which part of the world do people hold a type of meeting to solve a problem, and the meeting is over only if everybody agrees with the solution? So you never know how long it's going to take, which would be great for convention centers. It could last several days. Which part of the world do we have this type of meeting? Can you hold up your answer? The Vatican, which is a really good alternative for the answer which we're going to come up with. Asia, that's very broad. Yeah, they do things like that in the Vatican. Yeah. UK. No deal. Okay, no idea. Okay, the right answer is Hawaii. They have a meeting, a type of meeting, which is part of the Hawaii cultural tradition, which is called impronounceably Ho'oponopono. If anybody's interested, this comes from a book which has untranslatable words in it. Howard Rheingold wrote it. and it's got all these interesting words that you have in different languages for things which other people just never thought that were useful, and therefore they're the only ones to have the word. It's called Koro, Howard Rheingold. So the person who got closest, I guess, is Chef George, who said Asia, right? So you're next on.
I believe I said no idea. So
You who said Asia then? Sorry, I got mixed up.
Yeah, that was me, said Asia.
Okay, Murray, then you're next.
Perfect. Actually, I lived in Hawaii for 2 years. I never heard that one. So.
Well, maybe you've never had a major issue that had to be solved.
I guess so. I got lucky.
Yeah. Here you are. Your theme and foods.
All right, perfect. So what I have for everybody today is I looked at this from a chef scenario, a chef way. I looked at ingredients and I looked at items that I can work with. Now, the one item I did bring out, first of all, is nutritional yeast. And yes, the bag is open. I use this all the time. This is a fantastic product when it comes to plant-based cooking. What I found when I started the plant-based cooking, vegan trend really came up and is and continue to come up, is that I'm looking at vegans are coming back to me saying, I want protein. How can you give me a non-meat protein in my dishes and make it taste good? This little product here is fantastic. Absolutely love it. It gives a cheesy flavor to the food. It brings out the umami. It's like a vegan cheese sauce you can make out of it. And honestly, the Frank's Red Hot Sauce lady, that commercial, which I love dearly, I put this beep on everything. So you can really use this whatever you want to use it in. Vegetarian, vegan. I throw it in my chili. I put it in all my steak rubs as well. It goes great on pasta. And the nutritional benefits are absolutely huge with this. Just in the B vitamins as well. A quarter cup is 880% of B vitamins in this. And again, it's also a complete protein as well. So enjoy. This is one of the staples I've had when I was still chefing. We have your staples: salt, pepper, lemon, and acid. And this is now something that I have on my station with me as well. And it goes in everything. Great taste, rounds out the flavors well, and really provides a good middle with all the things that you're making: plant-based, vegan, vegetarian, meat, whatever. Highly recommend grabbing a bag and using it in your everyday cooking. Next one I have is hulled hemp hearts. So hulled hemp hearts, again, I was challenged, and I still continue to be challenged with guests coming in, is I'm vegan, but I'm allergic to nuts, or I don't like nuts. So the vegan diet is very nut-based and very nut-centric. So looking at different alternatives, this is a seed, hulled hemp hearts. It is from the cannabis plant. It is a different species of that plant, but the shell is removed, and there's a beautiful, lovely heart inside. These work fantastic, toasted, on salads. Throw it into anything that you want to have, a pasta. Make a fantastic pesto. No pine nuts. I'll use whole hemp hearts, basil, garlic, oil, and then I'll dump in a little bit of my favorite nutritional yeast in that as well too. So a really utilized product. It gives you a great nutty flavor. Baking with it is actually fantastic. So at work, we do an adzuki bean brownie, which is vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free. And to get that nutty flavor into it, add some whole hemp hearts to it. It really brings out that flavor. And the health benefits are outstanding. So the health benefits really look at this, and this package alone, it is a complete protein. So I believe it's a quarter cup of these is almost 16 grams of protein, which is equal, getting close to being equal to some of the animal proteins that you can buy on the market right now. Right. Very high omega-3s and omega-6, so the fatty acids. Very high in all your 9 essential amino acids as well too. Incredibly healthy for you, high in fiber, but also not high in calories as well. So these are my 2 products. I love this. This is fantastic. And when you're cooking, just try it. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Sounds great. Thank you very much. Very extensive motivation, which is irresistible. I need to find out where I can buy this in the Netherlands. We have 2 more presenters to choose from. And Jesse, you're in the middle of the screen, just happen to be in the middle of the screen. Could you choose the next presenter by choosing which color is going to be the next person?
I choose
Yellow.
yellow.
Yellow. Okay. George, you're on next.
Well, thank you so much. Thanks for hosting this. This has been a great event. I was a little suspect of virtual events, but I got to tell you, guys have done a phenomenal job with this. And I'm sorry we couldn't be there in person. I was really looking forward to meeting everybody. But here we are, and it's great. From my point of view, I selected some general categories: plant-based foods and the rise of ethnic foods. Um, and they're really, really interrelated. It's a very interesting thing when we start talking about plant-based foods, and it's been on everybody's mind. It's on all the news programs. But I keep going back to the origins of it, at least in the United States in the 70s. A cookbook author, an author by the name of Francis Moore LePay, wrote a book called Recipes for a Diet for a Small Planet. And that was a real seminal work about the need for a vegetarian, meatless type of sustainable diet in the United States, that the meat industry wasn't going to be sustainable. There were health concerns and stuff like that. And it's really interesting that this was in the early 70s, this book came out, that the growth of this has just been so phenomenal. Some of our data research shows us that by 2025, that plant protein items are going to surpass seafood as the fourth meat. So it's no longer just a bunch of niche hippies in the commune saying go green, go vegan. It's really become mainstream. One of the earlier presenters talked about that the big driver on this is the omnivore, is the flexitarian that's looking to drive plant-based meals for a variety of reasons, whether they would be health-driven, they'd be ethical, be religious in many cases, or what I think is the primary driver with a lot of people is the environmental concern and the unsustainability that some of our meat productions have in this country. So there's two aspects here. There's plant forward, where we start introducing more vegetables, more grains, and using meat as a condiment to drive flavor and help with that transition. There's also the entire plant-based movement, which is ancient grains. It can be various different types of vegetables, going back to the biodiversity issue. What we're seeing a lot of is rise in an arena which we call meat mimics. These are your meat substitute items. Nestle Professionals invested heavily in this. In Europe, we've got the Garden Gourmet. In Australia, we have the Harvest Gourmet. In the United States, we've got the Sweet Earth line, and these are all driven products that are pea protein products, at least here in the United States, that create the illusion or the replication of meat. So we've talked about Impossible Burger, where that consumer can get that near identical experience. In my own home, my wife is a vegetarian, has been for about the last 40 years, and so we cook with a lot of these plant forward and plant based meals. Last night, for example, I took our Awesome Grounds, our product here in this country called the Awesome Burger and the Awesome Grounds, and we made a plant-based vegetarian bolognese sauce, where we took the grounds and cooked them down over a period of time. Matter of fact, I'm having leftovers tonight here, so it was delicious. My wife, who's not eaten red meat for 40 years, thought it was one of the best tasting things she's had in a while. It does help that you live with a chef during this pandemic.
For sure.
But this is not to be separated. We're making a big deal about these
One is the rise of ethnic foods. And
the ethnic foods is what's interesting is that everywhere but in Western civilization, plant-based foods are really driving it. We look at Indian cuisine. If we look at that top picture there, here we've got a modified buffet setup where we're doing Indian foods. We sell an Indian base, which is a masala base, that we're now able to create these plant-based foods We can also use them for the flexitarian, where we can actually include meats. So if you look at Mediterranean foods, you look at Indian, you look at Asian foods, it's not a meat-based diet. It's meat as a condiment, and I think that's going to continue to rise as we grow as we move forward. And also, I think with people wanting to experience ethnic food provides the opportunity for a show at a conference where they provide great smells, aroma being such a driver of flavor, that we can create these action stations, create excitement. But I see this both as being huge growth areas for us.
Great, great. Thank you, George. Before I move on to Patrick, I'd like to again invite our participants to challenge the panel with any questions or doubts or queries you have. We will have some time for questions and answers, and make sure that you're here for the poll, because you can make sure that one of these people receives a really nice award. With that, Patrick, I'm going to look up your slide with, we don't need to do another test. You're the only one who still has the right to speak. So here's your slide with your theme. And I have to move backwards. Sorry, but meanwhile, you can already start talking.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Mike. I think it's important before we get started to recognize that our meeting attendees are more worldly than ever. They're adventurous. They're savvy when it comes to food. I think meeting attendees now want to use food as a vehicle to not only educate themselves on new ways of eating, but some healthful alternatives as well. And kind of running along the theme that we've been talking about today with other panelists. So the two items I'm going to present, they're not common. You don't see them in mass quantity in terms of placement today. They're not in grocery stores, at least domestically in the US from a large percentage basis. But the first one hails from South Africa. Jerky is kind of getting a resurgence in snacking, good energy, good healthy protein. This one is called biltong. It's a naturally air-dried cured meat. Contains no sugar, aligns with very popular on-trend diets like paleo and keto right now. And it's just a great, smart snacking item. Much lower in sodium than traditional jerky as well. The second item is tiger nut. Tiger nut is a great substitution for those that have nut allergies. It's a gluten-free root vegetable, grows primarily in North Africa and the Mediterranean, and it has the ability to be made into a great flour. So great in protein, great in fiber, and then also complies with gluten-free diet. So again, these are just absolutely not common, but I do see them coming around. We're seeing them in restaurant, freestanding brick and mortar type restaurant environments in terms of applications. But I do think they're going to start to make their way into the meeting experience. And again, new talking points, ways of new adventurous ways of learning and dining in the meeting space.
Great. Thank you for that. All right. I know we have a couple of questions. So could we have them on screen? The next question is, are there any of the known future foods that may have difficulty sourcing because of supply chain and harvesting challenges? Or any of the foods that you have mentioned? Do you know?
The meats will definitely, that I mentioned, just with how to get them and how much will be left, and the package and the processing facilities and how fast can they get them processed.
Okay.
But as everybody else said, using the meat as the accompaniment, that will actually help, that reducing the portion size of the meat product, if you are serving meat, will actually help in utilizing more of it with less.
Right. Okay.
I think the big advantage here is, at least from a chef's point of view, is that the playing field is so large that if something's not available, there are plenty of other opportunities to expand your horizons. As far as ancient grains go, for example, There's 15 or 20 grains out there, so you only need to exercise that creativity, and hopefully your clients are flexible with that.
Right. Yeah. So the more choice, the better. In fact, I guess that if you start varying much more, then obviously it becomes easier to source whatever you need anyway. There's always something then if you have greater variety. Any of the others? Any suggestions on this, or shall I go to the next question?
Well, I think just one more suggestion would be to go back. I think it was to Tracy or Jesse, you mentioned it, was try to source local as best you can and eat what's. I mean, the Canadian growing market right now is just coming up. So we're just seeing stuff coming out of the ground now. A week and a half ago, we had snow. So it's we're a little bit behind. But if you can eat locally as best you can, then you're not going to rely on foreign food sources coming in.
Right, right. Bit of local Canadian snow, always good. Oh, that's a nice one, particularly in this period, and it refers to what George was just saying. Is cooking at home as satisfying as cooking at the property?
From my standpoint, I would say my wife and my kids are very satisfied that I'm at home cooking dinner for them every night. So they're ecstatic, actually.
They want you to stay forever.
Yeah,
So
it's like, you have to go to work today? Why?
Yeah. Excellent. George?
So I don't cook on property anymore. As I say, I work for a Nestle Professional, and I'm mostly in sales. But what it's allowed me to do is to go through my vast collection of cookbooks and start pulling it down and kind of re-energizing my repertoire. And I got to say, my wife's very pleased with what I've been putting out. So my definition, I'm looking forward to going out to dinner again. The restaurants are just opening, but my definition of wonderful food is food that I had nothing to do with the preparation or cleanup of. So,
especially the latter part.
Yeah, especially the latter part.
Yeah. Patrick?
I'd say cooking at home, because then I can I make a big mess, and then I get some help from my wife in cleaning up. But yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you. Let's stop the Q&A here, and I'd like to move to the last part of this session, which is giving the audience the opportunity to vote for the winner of these 6 brilliant panelists. Now, here is semi-final one. We're gonna do 3 at a time. So we're gonna have Tracy, Chef George, and Patrick. Tracy had the local meatballs with pasta. Chef George had the plant-based and the ethnic foods, and Patrick was the last one with biltong and tiger nuts. So who's going to make it to the final out of these 3? And then we're going to do another semi-final between the remaining 3 panelists. And it's a pretty close finish, but I think, yes, Patrick, you're going to make it to the finals. So our first finalist is Patrick. And Mehdi, if you could make a note of that, then can we have a round of applause for Patrick? Very good. Yeah, and you're getting applause through the screen as well. Excellent. Let's move to semi-final 2, which is between Mariella, Murray, and Jesse. Mariella had the ancient grains and the jackfruit. Murray had the hemp seed and the yeast, and Jesse the mixed proteins and the probiotics. Murray starts with a good head start there. Let's see if the 2 ladies can still overtake him. Jesse seems to be making a move, but no, it's of no avail. It's a really sweeping win from Murray. So we're going to have our 2 chefs as the 2 finalists. Could we have a round of applause for Murray as well, who's making it to the finals? Well done. Gentlemen, here we are. Mehdi, we're going to have our last poll with the 2 finalists, the winner of semi-final 1, which is Patrick, and the winner of semi-final 2, which is Murray. So here we are. Ladies and gentlemen, cast your votes and let's see who wins the inspiring prize, which is my last slide. Here 2 Patrick Murray, you started with a head start, and Patrick is desperately trying to make up, but it is totally useless. So it's a hands down victory there for Murray. Could we have thumbs up and a round of applause for Murray? Thank you. Thank you, audience. Thank you, panel.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Congratulations to our winner, and a lot of tears for all the others because they're not going to get this. You win Future Food Today, which is a really inspiring cookbook by Space 10, a food lab and test kitchen. Congratulations, Murray.
That looks excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody.
I hope your family members will enjoy some of the experiments from this book as well.
Oh, yes. Experiments is something that we've been creating here.
Okay, great. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like our panelists to wave to everybody because this session is over, and we're happy to be with you to present you the new foods which are going to be on tomorrow's menu. You will find all of the information in the IACC YouTube channel. I probably think by tomorrow. Mark, is that right?
It'll be there by tomorrow morning. Absolutely right.
Great. Thank you very much. Panel, you were a sport. It was a pleasure working with you. Goodbye to everyone.
Thank you all.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Take care.
Enjoy. Thank you.
Well, it's great to be back, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you again. That's an incredible panel, and the speakers that you've seen there today, if you were with us earlier in the week, you will have seen them participate as well. They've got such brilliant minds, and their expertise in in their own niches is completely unrivaled. But now I'd like to take an opportunity to talk a little bit about IACC Green Star. Now, we've spoken in the last few days about how we're going to prepare for the future, how we use this downtime to be able to prepare to accelerate out at a rapid speed. And we still consider that at the moment, whilst we are managing all of the challenges that there are today, there are bright signs. We're seeing pictures on the news of cities that were once filled with smog, now are crystal clear. And there are still evidence and signs that we as individuals care about the community, care about sustainability. Certainly, you heard it in the last session, it's a really important part. So IACC Green Star went through a fundamental revamp, and it's my absolute pleasure now to introduce TJ Fermano. TJ is on our Americas Board of Directors, but also on our committee that was part of revamping that, a global committee. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce now TJ Fermano.
Hi everybody, it's TJ Fermano here from Flick Hospitality. Hi everybody, it's TJ Fermano here from Flick Hospitality, IACC America's board member. How amazing has this conference been? It's such an amazing thing that we've been able to pull off a conference, not cancel the Americas Connect conference, but hold it virtually. I'm so proud of the people that put this together and the association as a whole to be able to do this. But I'm here to talk to you about the Green Star program. So IACC's had a sustainability initiative called the Green Star program since 2005. Many of you know what it is and are part of it. Over the winter, we decided it needed a full revamping and a reinvigorating. So we got together a global team from people all across our chapters to give input on where we needed to change it, improve it, enhance it. The first thing we did is we compared it to other programs. Green Seal was one, the Nordic Swan Ecolab program was one, Events Industry Council Sustainability Certificate was another one. And what we found is that we were pretty good. Our standards held up well against them. There are ways we thought we needed to improve, but it held up pretty well. So then we went through each of our categories and each of our standards and looked for ways to improve them all and raised the bar in each one, changing percentages, just enhancing each standard or adding standards. So we ended up adding about 20 standards and including ones that we revamped. So those really, some of those included energy efficient lighting, food waste goals, recycling and reuse targets, transportation, and paper sourcing. So now our goal is for all the members to get accreditation in the Green Star program. That would make a big statement for IAC in the world today as far as sustainability goes. So we hope that while you're quarantined, while your business is slow or closed, you could take some time to look at the program and get your business ready to become accredited in the Green Star program. I hope everybody is safe and well at home, and hope you enjoyed the conference, and thank you.
Well, hello there, and thank you to TJ, and such a great recap of our What's on Your Mind session from yesterday. And it's a good reminder that most of the resources that you'll ever need to find for IAC are on the website. And if you're following us on our social media channels, it'll direct you there with all the new information as it comes alive. A little reminder that we're at that point at our next break where we will be ready for our cocktail time. So just a little preparation to make sure that you're ready and have an opportunity to get your drink ready, whatever you may choose. Just a little thumbs up along the bottom. Who is in, well, for the drinks, yes, check. But who is on today from Australia and Asia Pacific? My last trip, by the way, before the quarantine. My new favorite country. And how are Canada and North America doing this afternoon, this evening? Awesome. And do we have any Europeans hanging on in the wee hours of the evening? Well, aren't they troopers? Oh my gosh, love it. Well, it is now my pleasure to introduce our very own Mark Cooper and a panel of experts, bringing along Cindy Novotny, again with MCA. We're happy to see her. Shannon Terrell with Ungerbox Software, and Wayne Bobine with eDestin Access Inc. We're super happy to have them here, and they're going to talk to us today about the use of technology platforms to prepare our venues for the new world. Welcome.
Well, hello there. Hello, Cindy. How are you today?
Oh, I'm just fine.
You are looking so glamorous and colourful.
I'm just,
I'm trying to
Dress.
be sparky and happy and
That's what I call dress to impress.
oh, thank you.
Okay, well, we're looking forward to Wayne and Shannon joining us. They'll be with us in just a moment. I'm really excited for this session. You know, technology platforms that can support new services. This session, we're going to explore technology, you know, where it can be our friend, where it can not only provide solutions, but profitable solutions. It might be able to make us some money. And we're also going to be looking at some of those technologies that can make us more efficient, that might change how we communicate with people as well. I'm going to take this opportunity to introduce each of our panelists as they come through, and then we're going to ask them a question, ask them to briefly explore what their product is and their technology, and something that is unique for it. Cindy, I'm going to start with yourself as you are with me. I have here that you are an iconic hospitality industry leader, but gosh, we already knew that. We know you, the IACC family knows you for Master Connections Associates, of course, and we've been hearing you this week and we'll hear you again today. But explain why you're part of this technology platform session, because this isn't normally your bag, is it?
No, especially when I had a bit of a moment getting on, but don't worry about it. I was laughing at myself. So I am involved in technology as it relates to incremental revenue for hotels. And we've been in partnership with Wayne for many years. I mean, we're talking like 25 years, creating software that helps actual hotels seriously create a DMC, run automated, kind of sourcing for all of their outside activities, things like that. So I've been involved in that. We were probably one of the first back, like seriously 25 years ago, where we were convincing hotels and DMCs didn't enjoy me, and they could be listening right now, to bring that back to the property. And it didn't mean we were trying to cut out anybody. It meant that we could actually partner with the DMC, but we could do it in a much more automated fashion.
Right, that's great.
That's how.
Well, Wayne's going to be telling us a lot about the product, and but it is great to have, you know, your philosophy and your mindset when it comes to using these things to win. You know, in this session, Shannon, good afternoon to you. Welcome. I'm going to introduce you, Shannon, and then after I've introduced you, I'm going to ask you one question, well, really two questions. One question, just give us a brief overview of Ungerbach software. And the second one is, tell us something that's unique about Ungerbach in the world of competitors that you have there. But let me begin. Whilst you think about that, Shannon Heaney-Terrell, VP Product Marketing for Ungerbach Software. As head of product marketing, Shannon works closely with the Ungerbach product teams and the CEO to bring new products to the market. And a number of IACC members use Ungerbach software, this PMS system, including properties like Waltham Woods. And Shannon, your responsibilities include establishing pricing, packaging, products, market research, developing go-to-market strategies. Is there anything you don't do? And you are in your 20th year with Ungerbach. Wow, congratulations. And prior to that, you worked for Anheuser-Busch, managing special events at the Busch Family Property Grants Farm. Your passion for the events industry obviously runs deep, but you said you have to admit to one favourite client, which is the beloved Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And if it's Saturday in the fall, Shannon's going to be cheering on the Irish from there. But wow, I don't know. I don't know. I guess that's a sports team. I'm going to do that one. But certainly, you coming from the events industry into, you know, Ungerbach, you brought that meeting planner expertise. But Shannon, welcome. Tell us a little bit about Ungerbach and something that makes it unique.
Well, thank you so much for that introduction, Mark. Ungerbach is the world's event platform, and we are in our 35th year at Ungerbach. So we've been doing this for a long time. And really what makes us unique is the breadth of our platform. Ungerbach can take you from the first inquiry through the final invoice and even through financial statements. So Ungerbach does run the entire gamut of your technology needs, and that's what the IAC members and other customers of ours love about us.
Great, thank you. Wayne, welcome. We're delighted to have you on our panel. Let me introduce you, Wayne, and then I'm going to ask you to give us a brief overview of your platform and something that makes it unique. But Wayne Bubem, co-founder and CEO of and software architect from Tucson, Arizona today. 20 years of experience in hospitality and related technology development. Prior to founding the company, Wayne was district president at Robert Half International, where you were instrumental in driving adoption of advanced technologies. And earlier in your career, you spent 12 years operating a successful destination management company. That's where that DMC link came in and all that expertise. This combination has led to your vision of applying an advanced internet technology for the needs of hotels seeking revenue from group travel and concierge services. Today, eDestin Access stands alone in the marketplace, providing revenue generation, end-to-end solutions for the meetings and events management. Is that a good summary, 30,000-foot intro to your product, Wayne? Happy for you to expand on that. We have you on. Oh, we have you off mute. Perfect.
Nope, still muted.
The wonders of technology.
Thank you. I thought it was centrally controlled. I had it unmuted, and now it got muted. Yes, as Cindy said, we go way back 25 years. The product Destin platform came from a DMC side and a travel management company side when I worked for Marriott. And from that platform, we were able to flatten out by 70% the planning and implementing of a meeting. Doesn't matter if it's 10,000 people or 10. PwC helped us with the financial end of the package, but it literally handles everything from proposal generation, logistics, daily schedules, resumes for hotels, and final billing. So it is an end-to-end SMM platform.
And this new way of working, these conditions that have been forced upon us in the last few weeks, but we know we're going to, be a part of the next few months and years to come, presented you new opportunities and challenges?
Yes, we've seen the new opportunities coming from the fact that with the forecasting of meetings may be smaller than was previously seen, that we will have to implement our online catalog, online registration to accommodate virtual attendees and look for ways to message those attendees any information that they may require to make a decision to attend a conference.
Well, that's a really good lead-in to the first question that we're going to ask the audience, and we're going to test where they feel that we are. So if Mehdi, we can bring the first poll up today, please. We are going to ask our audience whether you see your venue services changing in the longer term after, let's say, the COVID link restrictions have gone away, let's say 2021. Do you see your venue services changing long term, or do you see everything we've got is going to be, for the short term to get us through this mess? Okay, well, there's a big emphasis towards we should take this opportunity to broaden the services that we offer our clients, to develop our services. One or two still feel we need to adapt some aspects of our short-term redesigned services. Just to finish off on the bottom, I want to give you the full title because I think one or two of you may be missing that in full. Overwhelmingly, we should take this opportunity to broaden the services we offer our clients to develop different ways of interacting with our meeting planner community. So panel, I think that poll, thank you very much, sets us up for some great questions. Now, I'm going to turn my camera off. I'm not going anywhere, but as I'm looking down at these questions, you don't see my head because the lights are very bright here and I may dazzle you. But I am going to be here and you'll be able to hear me. But fasten your seatbelts. I'm looking forward to us navigating through these.
Thank you.
Okay, well, my first question goes to you, Cindy. Whichever way you look at it, our past revenue levels are not going to bounce back immediately. for obvious reasons. So how could we use technology now cleverly to jumpstart a revenue stream for conference centers and hotels, in your opinion?
Well, first of all, and you, so many of you have heard me speak about this on some of the breakouts we've done, but we have always had a problem in the hotel industry of really focusing just on room rate. And when you look at food and beverage and you look at obviously the event spend and catering, we make way more money. And this isn't necessarily just if it's a conference center with a package, but we make more money on so many other things, but we tend to end up giving that away to a third party. Now, what many people sometimes don't get, and they almost argue this fact, is, oh, well, we work with this DMC, they're local, they've been very supportive of us. And I get that. And we have definitely partnered with many DMCs to understand that at a point where we have to look at our flow through and we have to look at our top line revenue and bottom line profit, we have to look at some sort of way to make it easier for the customer to do business with us. So with a digital, DMC or a travel management, sort of platform, we can do this anywhere in the world. And we've shown that. I mean, I think the first one that I was involved with in a very big way was a wedding that was taking place in Marrakesh. And, Wayne and his team did everything from all the manifests of all the private jets, everybody flying there when they landed, the pickups. So the boots on the ground were merely giving that service. And I think sometimes when people say we don't want to go against our core hospitality, well, that's what we go against every time we put our services in the hands of someone else that doesn't necessarily live our same values. So if the conference center wants to handle, or resort, all the, client needs, it's a simple matter of just giving them the tools and technology to really make this meeting much more seamless. Because you ask any meeting planner out there, and we know that we're involved with lots of those, all they ever say is, can we make this easier? Why is it so hard? In addition, as we look at this hybrid tech type of, meeting and what's going to happen, we do have the ability to do an end-to-end solution. And I think that's important, because when a customer is talking to a salesperson, especially in the next 3 to 6 months, where some people are on the fence, it will be critical that, a salesperson can say, we can handle it. We can handle the registration. We can handle all of the live streaming. We can do this, instead of, well, you'll want to work with somebody to get that organized. Let us give you the name of one of our AV companies. And all you're doing is you're disjoining the entire process. And when you do that, to me, you are not delivering that excellent hospitality service. So that's how I look at it.
And you have that opportunity to offer the quality of service, beyond your doors, taking care of your customers beyond the the principal product that you've got. And not to forget, as you were talking through that, offering that service to customers, they're working, whatever organization they're working for, they're working in a very different environment now as well. So the resources and the go-to people that they had to take this on, when they used to be able to, go and ask John or go and ask Mary, to help source a transportation for this thing, they've gone now. And people are not left in roles sometimes in organizations on the basis that in 4 months' time there's going to be an event which needs people. So offering that service, that complete service, it's something that may be needed because the client resource just doesn't have it. That's
right. And I think we can't lose sight of the business we're in. And I think that's what happens, is that, the business is always been end to end. There isn't a meeting that has taken place over a gazillion years that didn't have to get someone to an airport, didn't get to have to fly them, check them in, do all the offsites, hire all the coaches, manage all the process, including when you look at some of the excuses you will hear, well, we don't have the resources, our conference services people can't do it, because it was always so manual with Excel spreadsheets and all these sorts of things. They couldn't get their head around it.
We talked about revenue stream in that question purposely. When you take on these services, what opportunity does that give the host property to earn revenue from providing that service? From what you've seen, is it like a third party scenario where it's 5%, 10%, 15% of revenue, or is it a different way of packaging and selling that, Cindy?
Well, I'm gonna defer to Wayne on that because we've done several different things, but I'm gonna let him answer that because the revenue potential is incredible, and we've got several resorts using it. So I'll let you answer that, Wayne. Thanks, Cindy. Yes, it's really important to understand that with when you're using technology, it creates transparency. So a hotel has a login, and they can look at the profitability of every element of the meeting. And as you know, meetings are very complex, as Cindy said. We have made it simple. So you can look at several reports, you can look at the spend, you can look at the gross profit, and in no time it's flat. So it's not 5%, it's not 10% of top line, it's sharing in a revenue stream that's extremely profitable. You can operate with a 30, 40% gross profit range, and you could split that substantially with a hotel property. You can go as high as 50% split if you wanted to. And depends on what the needs are, servicing the client, and you could determine that. But it's a substantial amount of revenue. And if the hotel goes full service on their own, or a conference center goes full service, you're talking about a substantial amount of money. It could be 10 million or more for a 600 room property that does 40% group business. That's how substantial it was. I'm not saying that'll return quickly, but it's certainly an incremental slice of revenue that any property, conference center, resort can use.
Wow, there's some big numbers, but big opportunities and numbers that we're all searching for at the moment to make up on other areas which have gone away. Thank you for that, Wayne. Thank you, Cindy. Shannon, I'd like to come to you now, if I may. We're seeing the traditional window, the way we used to do business has just been decimated now. What was this thing we used to do? Work in office hours, and then we used to turn off, right? Remember those days? It's just not like that. It's completely thrown out. People now know that they can blend work with their other responsibilities, working in this, what I'd call a hyper flexible capacity. Will that change the way that venues and meeting planners need to interact with each other when planning a meeting, in your view? And if so, what does that mean for you specifically as a provider of an end-to-end PMS?
Sure. So what we've been seeing is our customers telling us that their customers are clamoring for better technology to help the meeting planner and the venue interact with each other, particularly during the sales and the planning portion of the event. And they are looking for a place that as a meeting planner, they can go and get all the information related to their event in one place at the time that's convenient for them. So if that means they're doing Zoom calls with their kids in the morning and they're spending their nights setting up their schedule for their event, and they need to get that to the venue, that might be happening at 10 o'clock at night. Now, I've worked with enough meeting planners to know that that's what was happening before Corona too. It didn't take their Zoom calls at 10 o'clock in the morning for them to be working at 10 o'clock at night. But it really is the venue wanting to provide for their meeting planners that they work with a portal and a way for them to communicate and interact. Gone are the days of having to search through 100 emails to find the latest update on the schedule of functions that are happening during the day. We need everything to be in one place. We need everyone to be looking at the latest data all at one time. So we're really seeing a huge increase in the number of venues that are coming to us for an event portal that they can not just deliver a set portal for everyone, that everyone sees the same thing, but this is customized to the individual meeting planner. So what they're seeing is specific to their event. One of the things that we've heard, of course, there aren't, very many events going on anywhere in the world. And while people are anticipating that coming back, they're also looking ahead. We know that these meeting planners are planning 3, 5, 10 years in the future. So, if this is the time they would normally be coming to your property to do a site visit, Well, that's being postponed or potentially going virtual. So things like having your portal be able to have a walkthrough of your venue, and have that tailored to the specific meeting planner for their specific event. So they're not just feeling like they're getting something generic, but they're getting something personalized and tailored to their business so that they know that they're still getting that level of service that we were just talking about. But they're just getting it through technology instead of in a live face-to-face environment.
It's interesting when you talk about that, because still for too long, although we've been in this century, for a while now, we still operated. Remember when you could only go to the bank, in the morning from 10 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon, and it was closed at weekends. But now you've got online banking, and you do your banking when you want, and you have everything there. Our sales offices close still in the afternoon, but if the technology is there to still be able to plan your meeting, I love that idea of navigating and the doors open to the meeting rooms when you're having a virtual tour that you've got booked for that event that you're logged into. If the PMS can become more dynamic and provide that direct input for the meeting planner, that's incredibly powerful, whatever time of the day it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I let me add one thing on that, because I so agree that this is where it makes it so obvious that, revenue comes to hotels from things we're not already offering now. Yet we're expecting a planner to try to figure out, oh, you can work with that company, and then you can work with that company. And then we just act like because we're giving the reference, they still have to do all the work. And I think what we have to do is think about it. The meeting planner needs all this. They're going to have to purchase it from someone. So wouldn't it make more sense to have one person managing this process for the planner, so that the planner is like, thank you. And it saves them, the meeting planner, time. It saves them money. It saves them energy. It's like, and stress, because it's real easy for a hotel to say, oh, well, I'm sorry, we don't own the transportation company. I'm sorry. If I'm actually running it from my DMC or from my in-house technology, I'm going to be all over it to make sure it's right. Even though I didn't buy all the buses and I'm not driving the buses, I now have a real responsibility to make sure I'm connected to that. And that just goes to, exactly what Shannon was saying as well. And if I may too, Shannon, you brought up a good point about the sales office being closed. I think though, we're talking about leveraging technology. Today, with the ability to have a catalog that's dynamically structured, a meeting planner should be able to go to any property, go to that property, let's look at breakfast, let's look at the meeting room, let's look at the transportation costs to get what's around the area with geofencing and geo-knowledge, and they should be able to get an instant proposal, which there are technologies that do that right now. Ours is one of them. Why shouldn't a client get information 24/7 from the information provided by the hotel, put it in a format that's easily understood, easily ordered, just like you buy on Amazon, and get an instant proposal? It's going to cost you $50,000 for breakfast, $80,000 for lunch, whatever. And that's what technology should be doing at the property level.
At $80,000 for lunch, Wayne, I'll let you take me to lunch next time.
I was talking about 1,000 people, though. Yeah. We're not talking about just your lunch, Mark.
I've got a healthy appetite. I have a healthy appetite, Cindy. I'm kidding. Wayne, I'm going to keep with you, if I may now. We've now added, of course, hybrid meetings and virtual attendance to an already large list of services that venue providers have been given to meeting planners, or should be given to meeting planners in whatever capacity that they're providing those services. But how does your platform bring these services together in a way that creates this new online registration and participation service? How does it work? What does it feel like and and look like to the customer?
Sure. It's an online registration portal that's put together at the property level, leveraging the technology, dynamically built. I know that virtual attendees has been a big deal in today's world, but we've taken it a step further by having a guest questionnaire that is filled out and it's customizable from a technological standpoint that used to be done by a developer, now any user can go in and put the components in. For example, Cindy brought up transportation. So what does a transportation company that you provide look like? What are their vehicles? How often are they cleaned, et cetera, et cetera? They could drop that into a guest questionnaire, summarize it, analyze it, and push data back to that individual user. So they walk around with their phone and they have all the information out of that questionnaire. They could register as a virtual attendee or make a decision to attend as a physical attendee, all from the online registration. That gives them more information, and the information creates the power to make a decision.
So you're not. So it sounds like you're not needing to consider two different approaches: one to manage the virtual attendees and another to manage the face-to-face attendees. You provide the one platform, the registration, and you as part of that process, you can tick the box. I'm going to be hybrid. I'm going to be there in person, and the process and the rich information that is given to you is pertinent to your attendee type.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Give us an example, though, Wayne, can you, of what sort of messages can be pushed to attendees? So when I think about the fact that, I'm going to attend a meeting remotely in Dallas. My colleagues are there in Dallas at the venue. What sort of information could I expect to get through the platform that the venue and the meeting planner the clients put together for me, to help me feel a part of that community, even though I'm not actually traveling?
Sure. Well, as I mentioned, every attendee now has their itinerary on their smartphone. That's first and foremost. The messaging and deliverable is constructed based upon the questionnaire. So if they want to see what that bus may look like, if they want to see what that meeting room looks like, it doesn't matter, whatever it is they want to see and get, it comes through on the itinerary, which is chronologically put together minute by minute, and they get to see it. So they get to see the car, they get to see the room, or if they want to see what's going on in that particular destination as it pertains to COVID-19, whatever the information is about that destination can be pushed to them at will, and that's because of the guest questionnaire. And then Wayne, I think what Mark was referring to is on the hybrid side, though, those people that aren't going to physically come to the meeting, what will be some of the things they could expect to be seeing? I mean, they'd get the same itinerary, they'd be able to get their all the PowerPoints, the handouts, the things that you normally get, but how else would we be able to engage them? Well, they would be able to obviously attend the meeting from the opening banquet, whatever they select. They could, and they would pay through the platform. So they would be able to feel like an attendee. They could sit in on the breakfast. They could sit in on the lunch. They could sit on the final night gala, all broadcasted. And you could implement the Zoom-like, we used to call it Show Pro 5 back in my Maritz days, where they could see everyone there and everyone can see them. So it creates a warmth as if they're there, a virtual audience from the virtual attendees.
Okay, I'm going to jump back in now. Thank you for those great answers. So we're going to run into our next poll now. Again, we want to test the audience, we want to test our attendees, see what their feeling is. But if we could bring the poll up, Mehdi, please. If you're a venue operator, what is your current position related to online meeting bookings? So this is now thinking about the ability to book that meeting space online as opposed to managing the registrations and the participants. Many of you are already offering online booking. Great if you could throw into the chat, maybe if the provider that you're using for that or the capabilities of that. Is it meeting space only, guest room accommodation?
Yes, that would be helpful, Mark. If you're already offering online booking, put in the chat, is it end-to-end solution? Is it BEOs? Is it everything, or what exactly is it? That would be great.
I'm very interested in that we're seeing that not many people considering it at the moment, so they haven't got it, not considering it. But there is a big number there that we're not considering it seriously, but we're open now looking at it. And again, this situation's provided certainly that need for us to really extend and look at new ways of connecting with our members, with our clients, and also to look for efficiencies internally as well. Thank you for that. Well, let's head in. Let's take that data in, and we'll head in. Again, I'm going to camera off and look down. Shannon.
And Mark, we have a question that I think we should just go ahead and answer. Can we pull it? Because a question came up. Do you want me to read it? Oh, here it is.
Oh, great. Thank you for that.
Yes. It says, do you know of a software that allows for the attendee to select from multiple education classes that are going on at the same time? For example, if you have more than 3 breakout sessions at the same time, could you select which one you want to see? Now, I know we can do that, but Wayne, would you like to elaborate a little bit on that? And then Shannon can also add some thoughts on that. Yes, that's really kind of a walk in the park for the platform we're speaking about. The attendees select what they want. It could be hosted, non-hosted. They could be a physical attendee or virtual attendee, all from the same online registration. And they have the ability then to select whatever session they want at a given time they want. And again, it shows up not on a piece of paper they have to carry around. It's on their device. So everything is in one place. Shannon, any thoughts from you on that?
I would just echo what Wayne said there, just the ability to pick from the sessions or pick multiple sessions, depending on, how the registration is set up, and then have it appear in your agenda on your mobile device. So just what Wayne said.
Good. All right, back to you, Mark.
Thank you. Shannon, the industry is braced to provide new ways to deliver meeting facilities with lower margins. What efficiencies can a PMS offer in terms of the labour and also the managing of client bookings? Where can we find efficiencies that are not there or haven't been there in previous months?
Well, I think that, sort of a culmination of a lot of the things we've just been talking about. So the ability for a meeting planner who is familiar with your venue, perhaps is having a smaller event, is familiar with what their needs are, being able to go into a portal and book the space that they're looking for, along with that virtual tour so that they can be picking out the right spaces, the right setup, having the ability for them to then also place either directly place orders if they know exactly what they want, or as Wayne mentioned earlier, get a proposal for the event that they would like and what their costs are, and potentially multiple proposals, right? Based on, especially in this time where we just don't know what's going to be the situation in 6 months, how many people are going to be traveling. So just the ability for us to have online booking tools, online ordering tools, online quoting tools, and then be able to enter all that information, have it being checked over by someone, but also having the AI in order for the rules to be met during that booking process, doing things like suggesting upsells. So there doesn't have to be so much interaction directly from the venue itself, but you're not losing those opportunities to increase sales, but you are decreasing those costs from the labor that goes into that particular part of the meeting planning process.
Well, it sounds like PMS, operators, well, certainly Angerbach, and what you're doing is really thinking about, the duplication of administration. And we were hearing in the last session about, just the complexities of dietary management, allergen management, and all of that. So that it's huge. We see meeting planners gathering that information, creating that list, sending it across by email to the venue. The meeting planner and the sales team then take that and they put it into Delphi or whatever it is, and then it comes through and it goes to the kitchen. I mean, how many times have we duplicated that information when if we could just get direct access in, from the meeting planner, they could use our templates and put that in without us even having to touch it. We can then allocate our staff resource and the service bit, because the service is still important, to making sure it really happens at the event on the other end, as opposed to duplicating and number crunching. So yeah, okay, Cindy, here's a million dollar question for you that was only ever going to come your way. Have you got any suggestions on how we can actually monetize this virtual attendee thing that we're going to be doing in the future? Can we charge an attendee that doesn't come to our property?
Oh, yes. Oh, absolutely. And this is not, we're already seeing in a very short 10 weeks. I know this seems like a very long 10 weeks, but in a very short amount of time, we have already ourselves been involved in, online fee-based sessions. We've also, I've been involved with a lot of event planners that even on the social side of the business have done a few weddings where only, the couple and maybe their parents were there. And then they literally live streamed it, and the couple paid to have certain services done, which was all handled by the planner. And we were involved on some of those things where little, cakes were sent to people and the music was streamed and the dancing. I mean, to the point that they were sent, the gift cards that were just actually put into their bank account, like a Venmo type of account, for them to order their dinner. So they would be sitting at their home. And that was not just like, oh, you're not paying for that. So the couple or the organizer or the planner was actually asking the venue to please make this all happen. And, that's where we know, because we were involved in that there's a charge, and nobody cared. It wasn't like they said, no, we think you should do it for free. None of that. It takes time. The other thing is that there's not, to me, again, my opinion only, going to be like a huge amount of people for a really, really long time that are going to want to do hybrid meetings. I think we're going to see this in the short term. And I think that the planners, and it depends on who's hosting it, who's the presenter, there's going to be, very celebrity type keynote speeches that people want to get in and see. They're not going to mind having to pay for that to be streamed. Now, remember, in most of these cases, it is the company that is paying, not the attendee. And the company is going to say, we don't want to force our person who is not comfortable coming to this meeting in, Dallas, Texas, in September, but we want them to be a part of it. Well, there takes a lot of coordination and a lot of effort to be able to get that organized. And I haven't talked to a planner yet, and I have been on so many sessions with meeting planners that have all agreed it's an unbelievable service, and we would pay for it, because in some cases, some of them are like one or two people, and many people have been furloughed, and they're already busier than they could even imagine being, and they need some assistance in this.
Is there a magic number in terms of a group that's too small to have this sort of service created for it? And I'm going to throw that to you, Wayne, as a question. Because we talk about large events, talk about weddings, and we're in the hundreds, we're in the thousands there. But what about that meeting that is 30 people and 15 are going to attend it and 15 are going to attend in a hybrid capacity? Can what we've been talking about in the last 40 minutes, can this service support smaller meetings as well as the big ones?
Oh, absolutely. I think one of the things, in my opinion, that yes, there are in-house AV companies that can easily do this. But what's astonishing to me is watching recently American Idol, for example, where they used, and I read the backstory of it, they used an iPhone, 3 of them, and they controlled it from a very simple computer to take different angles off of an iPhone, and they broadcast to America, well, for that matter, to the world. I don't think a size is important. At 20 people, it's certainly affordable to do it. The technology exists to make it work from a hardware perspective, and from our perspective, putting it into a platform is very easy. You just build an event, 20 people, 10 will be virtual, and they'll just log in to a Zoom link or whatever it might be. It's easy.
Okay, I'm going to ask our IAC Global community what state they are in terms of offering these services. So first of all, we're going to use our wonderful, well-oiled emoji chat area. Throw us an emoji with a thumbs up, IAC Global community, if you are providing manually the introduction to the services like transportation or hybrid or other services that are outside the scope of what you provide as a venue. Okay, so we've got we've got a few starting to float in there. So we're offering these services already manually. Okay, they keep coming. And we get the smiley love. Okay, now what I'd like to do is just stop that now. Give us a thumbs up if you are providing other services that complement the venue services, but through some form of electronic computer-based platform where, yep, we're getting one or two there, but not many, only a couple.
Right.
So that's the opportunity. So we're providing these services, labor intensive, but if there were a platform that could provide it, that would be certainly valuable. Give us one last run at this. Give us a thumbs up if you're open to now exploring a online platform that can bring these services together, negotiate with the providers and make it, yeah, there we go. Okay, well, we're achieving something today. And Wayne, certainly, and Shannon, it's given you some good food for thought in regards to that. Wayne, can quality pre-arrival information help build attendance? Or is it that they're coming anyway and all you're doing is providing the means to get information to them or from them? Can it be a tool for building attendance?
Well, I think that the pre-arrival welcoming message is very important. People today, they don't want to read 2 paragraphs of what it's like to be in Kathmandu, whatever it might be, wherever it might be. They want to see video. They want to see images. They want to see people having fun while in a previous meeting. They want to get excited. And the written word, unfortunately, doesn't convey that excitement in today's world. And they can carry that around on their tablets. They see it on their computer. And it builds excitement, and particularly if it's a spousal attending event where they could show it to their spouse and say, look, here's where we're going to go. You're still not interested, whatever it might be. It creates excitement to build attendance.
Shannon, our last question of the day, and you've all been awesome, but we've talked about lots of services. I want to bring it back to the to the property management system. What if a member is looking for a new property management system tomorrow? What sort of features would you recommend they look out for that embrace the ability to bring some of the management of these services into the system's capability of being able to, incorporate it and manage it? We'll get you off mute. Perfect.
I think she's still on mute.
I saw a headphone switch midway through.
And she's got a great smile, and I was like almost reading your lips.
So I think Shannon's answer was, you need to come to Ungerbuck Software, and I'll just detail you in 5 bullet points exactly what you need to look for. Then go and have a look at the rest and see how they stack up. But we're sorry to have lost you there, Shannon, momentarily. But great addressing of these questions. I think from the poll we've understood that IAC members are open to looking for efficiencies, looking for new revenue channels, looking to be able to offer easy one-stop shops for our customers, because that's what's going to win out over the competition. Wayne, Cindy, Shannon, thank you so much for being a great panel with us today. We really appreciate it. I hope you're going to stay with us for the virtual happy hour. You're going to see it's coming next, and they're going to be singing a few songs with our board. But on that note, really appreciate your time. energy commitment to IAC Virtual Connect 2020. Thank you all.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Well, that was fantastic. And I can't thank Mark and Cindy, Shannon and Wayne enough for bringing their insights to us to talk about what our future just might look like. Mark, I think we need to talk a little bit about those amazing sponsors of ours. You ready to take it?
I am certainly ready to take it because, our sponsors, when we think about, the uncharted territory that we're going into in the next few months, we need to have suppliers that are equally forward-thinking, creative and innovative. Now, all of these sponsors stuck with us for IAC Virtual Connect, but also many of them you're familiar with have been with IAC for many years. They want to be close to us. They're here, part of the conference, part of our panels, part of our sessions. They understand what we are going to need to put in place in the months to come. So all I would say is talk to them, let them help you. They are incredible partners to our IAC members already. They get our industry and our business. They can be part of our success tomorrow.
So true. And we cannot really thank them enough and appreciate your support of them. So for those that might not have been on a little earlier this week, Mark might have put a challenge out there to the Americas board that there would be some singing involved. So I apologize in advance for what's about to happen. All right, we're going to replace our chilled out yoga with the chilled beverage of your choice. Now, before we got this rolling, Mark and I might have done a little practice last night because, in true TikTok style, us being millennials and all, we'll start here. Medi, can you show them our skills?
You do something to me that I can't explain. Hold me closer and I feel no pain. Every beat of my heart, we got something going.
Ew. Well, so there we go. Now, I'm going to take a moment here to invite my fellow American Board of Directors to, from the Americas chapter, to the camera and to the mic. There's a whole bunch of us coming in, so let's see how we do. And as they're coming in with their drinks in hand, I'd like to and say their hellos. I need to see some drinks, some glasses raised. I would like to raise a little toast. Life may throw us some punches and knock us on our ass. Real friends are there to ease the pain and somehow make us laugh. So now let's raise a glass to Dallas 2021 and March. We look forward to seeing all your shining faces in person. So let's move on to a little group karaoke because what could possibly go wrong with this? Medi?
Great Mark.
Okay, so there we go. Well, all you cool cats and kittens, there's your America's Board of Directors, and I cannot thank them enough for their insight and their passion and their wisdom and their energy for representing this association and the small meetings market so well. I think the only thing suspect about that gang of wonder is their singing skills. All right. Well, now on to our board associates, and let's hear a word from them. We'll see you in Dallas.
Hi everyone, it's Irina from Banff Center for Arts and Creativity. We are located in the beautiful Banff National Park in western Canada. I highly recommend watching the IACC webinars. They provide a lot of great information and ideas on how your operations might look like in the future of the meetings. For me personally, I'm in marketing, and these webinars give me ideas on how we might change our messaging and value proposition to focus more on safety and cleanliness standards. Check them out.
Hej, Felicia heter jag är 22 år och jag jobbar på Rönneberg konferens strax utanför Stockholm. Jag är med på Virtual Connect för att jag älskar möjligheten att ta del av andra personers erfarenheter. Det gör att jag utvecklas som person och att jag får bredare kunskap hur jag kan göra mitt jobb så bra som möjligt. Så tack IACC för att ni gör detta möjligt, att vi kan mötas trots alla omständigheter i världen. Jag hoppas att vi kan ses snart igen. Hej då!
Well, it's wonderful to hear from our board associates there, Arena and Felicia from Sweden. And of course, we have Kristen as well. I would just like to take an opportunity to big up our board associates and the program. Our chapters around the world offer an opportunity for those incoming generations to be able to, special people who have achieved great things at their properties, who stand out as rising stars, to put forward nominations to be an IACC board associate. Well, what does that mean? Well, first of all, they're welcomed into the board of directors in a voting capacity to really bring the vision for the future, the ways that we need to communicate with incoming generations, the perspectives into the discussions that we have. Their positions are supported as well by IACC chapters. So they, for instance, have their travel and their presence at the board meetings covered as a contribution from IACC. So again, there is no costs involved to be able to do that. We've seen some incredible board associates that have gone on and served on our board of directors. In fact, Mehdi Amadi, who you all know now very well, is a great example of that, having been an IACC board associate and now serves on the IACC board of directors. But beyond giving to IACC and providing IACC great opinions, they also get a lot from just being a part of that community, rubbing shoulders with industry leaders, getting mentors that they will then keep that relationship for many years to come. So a big thank you and a virtual cheers from me for all of our board associates today and those who will consider joining us in 2021. Thank you. Now I'd like to take the opportunity to welcome our next speaker. Lavazza Coffee, which is a provider for many of our properties around the world, is a e-exhibitor as well, with us here at V Connect, so we thank them for that. Also, I'd like to thank Lavazza and Lana ahead of us speaking today for that wonderful 30% reduction that we got for all of the members and attendees here at V Connect to be able to shop online at Lavazza. And I'm sure that code is still live, so take a look at your virtual exhibitor email that came a couple of weeks ago. But on that note, I'm looking forward to handing over to Lana Overton, which is delivering sustainability, product and service and innovation through coffee. Hello, Lana.
Thank you, Mark, for the nice introduction. Really great to be here and be able to present to IACC Americas. You guys are a great group, and we're super happy to have our first participation in your conference and to have a virtual one at that. With that, we want to start off by showing you our 2020 campaign to give you a little flavor of who Lavazza is.
I'd like to taste a real Italian coffee, please.
A real Italian coffee?
She said real Italian coffee? What? Comment? Was?
Ah sì, l'espresso. In a capsule?
Americano? Cappuccino or Americano?
I don't know. You mean black coffee? She wants a real Italian coffee.
She wants real Italian coffee!
What is the real Italian coffee?
Mocha?
Oh, nice. It's called Freddo.
Did someone say instant?
You mean flat white?
Really? So what is the real Italian coffee?
Ah, the real Italian coffee.
Yes, Lavazza, espresso and more. Discover the Italian coffee experience in all its forms. Lavazza, more than Italian.
Why didn't you just say so?
Exactly.
Thank you. I thought that would be a fun way to show you a little bit about Lavazza and coffee and what we're doing today. And I'm going to start by having one of my favorite coffees, which is a pour over Tierra, 100% Colombian. This is how I start my day, and so this is how I'll start my presentation. So I'm going to share a little bit about Lavazza, trends in general in the industry, who we are, about sustainability, corporate responsibility, how it pertains to coffee, but also specifically what Lavazza is doing in that regard. And then speak about coffee service, innovation, and training. I do want to speak a moment about the slide you're looking at. I think it showcases who we are today. It shows the history. We are 120 years in business, so we have the history of coffee and all that it means, especially in Italy with the start of espresso. And it also shows the innovation. The building in the middle is our corporate headquarters and new training center. It happens to be the first LEED certified building in Torino. And to start, I'd like to share a poll. I think you guys are all up to speed with how to do the polls, and I want you guys to take a few minutes to vote there. What is the most important aspect of coffee service in your conference center? Product quality, brand image, equipment and service, and innovation, sustainability, or price? Great, I see a lot of things coming in. Price, quality, a little bit on brand image. This is great. I'm glad to see that quality is at the top, and that's something that certainly Lavazza is a pillar of who we are and can deliver. And so I'm going to talk more about that as we progress. Thank you for sharing. In terms of a brand, we are 120 years in business, so it is important to kind of understand a little bit how consumers view us and how we view ourselves. We celebrate the Italian lifestyle with every cup of coffee. When you think about Lavazza, people think about Italianness, of course, the legacy on espresso. But as the campaign that we launched for this year, for 2020, it shows that really coffee and Lavazza are really associated with all sorts of coffee preparation. Certainly we're innovative, we're very authentic, and we're a global brand. In terms of, I like to show this because in terms of the types of coffee we offer, the types of programs we offer, Lavazza really is a suitable partner for a vast number of customers. With that said, and Mark alluded to it when he introduced me, I think our sweet spot, at least in terms of the business that I work with, is the hospitality channel, which definitely conference centers and convention centers certainly fit into that. We have a lot of innovative product solutions as well as equipment and service type of innovative service aspects, as well as we also have a lot of support we can offer through our technical service and training, which I'll share a little bit more about in a few moments. Oh, I skipped too far ahead. Okay, just a quick moment on trends, and this is really across all coffee, not specific to Lavazza. We are seeing a younger audience. The fastest growing demographic, believe it or not, is that 13 to 17-year-old group. And I think that's largely because of what you see below, and that's the cold brew. We have seen a huge surge in consumption of cold brew over the last, really almost approaching the last decade, but the growth has been huge. Millennials are also big consumers of cold brew, and I'm going to speak to that a bit later. Espresso-based beverages are also a big part of coffee, with tripling in consumption since 2008. And then sustainability continues to be super important within, I think, as the conference has talked about it, really within all categories. Coffee is no different, but because of where coffee is grown and being such a agricultural product, the sustainability aspect is really huge, and Lavazza is really a part of that, and it's certainly more than a trend. As you'll see, for us, we've been involved for many years. I did want to just mention on Gen Z, I don't know how much in terms of the conference has spoken about generational things. The Gen Z group, I think, is interesting with coffee, just because at 13 to 17, which obviously Gen Z incorporates those into their 20s as well. But they really do feel that sustainability is important. With the products that they're buying are growing at a much more rapid rate. They really try to buy brands that act responsibly, and they prefer brands that are really focused on society even more than they care about price. I'm going to specifically speak now to sustainability and corporate responsibility, and we'll start with a poll. Poll number 2, how important is sustainability in your operation? Extremely important, important, moderately important, not important at all. Wow, that's awesome. Getting some good polling. Pretty much everybody, will close it out, feels that it's at least, and maybe I'm supposed to show the polls, but everybody said, with the exception of, I think, 4%, said it was either extremely important or moderately important, which is great, because for Lavazza, it's extremely important. It's actually a core value of ours, and we are really focused against it. I wanted to share that we were recognized by Forbes magazine last year and their global index for corporate responsibility. And we were actually the #1 food and beverage company recognized, number 9th company in the world, and the #1 Italian company. And I'd like to bring this up because really we feel that this is not a 2019 recognition. This is really due to our years of investing in creative, scalable, global, and systemic sustainability. And really it's something that we're doing, and it's important it shows up. It's a goal that we have to deliver in every cup that we serve. Our major platform for sustainability and the projects is on the coffee side, on the grower side, is our foundation, which is the Giuseppe e Pericle Lavazza Foundation. It was started in 2004, so as I said, sustainability is not a trend for us. It's something that really is in our core values, something that we have been involved with long before it, I think, showed up as a trend. And the Giuseppe e Pericle Lavazza Foundation is a foundation that really works in the countries, in the growing countries, to support environmental and social development. There's 5 major areas that we focus on: best practices with the producers, training them so that they make sure that they're continuing to be able to produce high quality coffee, quality being utmost importance. Obviously supporting younger people through education. We are also working a lot of the countries where coffee is grown. Women are, there's an imbalance and a gender imbalance, so we really work to support them to enhance the role of women within the communities. Climate change is a big concern within coffee growing countries, so we have a strong focus in that area as well, to work on initiatives for reforestation and things like that. And we also encourage better access in general to food resources and promote production diversification for the growers, the coffee growers. And through our foundation, we actually support specifically 21 projects. Our projects are called the Tierra projects in 14 different countries. Really want to point out that we work with 60,000 coffee producers. So of all varying sizes, a lot of them smaller, obviously. And our goal here, in conjunction with the Rainforest Alliance, which has been a partner for a long time, is to really help them to promote their entrepreneurship. So really allow them to sell these coffee that they grow, not just to Lavazza, even though our foundation is helping support them, but to the free market, so that they can actually become stronger and be able to take care of their land and continue to produce high quality coffee and become more profitable. I'm now going to speak more on the innovation side and include sustainable products and service. And I have another poll for you guys. How important are espresso-based beverages and specialty coffee beverages to a conference center? And while you're polling, I'm going to share, I have a delicious macchiato, which is an espresso with a little bit of foamed milk. Great. It looks like most folks believe it's at least important or extremely important. If I combine the two, some moderately important and a few not at all. So that's great. For us, you know, as our ad showed, really coffee encompasses everything, but for us it really is important, the espresso-based beverage side as well. And let's show the next video, please.
It's a new day in Lavazza, and we're ready again to start working, doing what we do best since 120 years, coffee. An everlasting commitment to improve moment by moment, because we always look ahead. It all began here, at the end of the 19th century, when Luigi Lavazza created his first blend, reinventing coffee. Better still, it was a kind of magic. From that moment on, it's been one endless journey for us. Not only in Italy, we have become citizens of the world, conquering new markets, first in Europe and then in other continents. Now, everyone recognizes our products and our values. Top quality, Italian excellence, modern lifestyle. While here in Turin, it's the beginning of a new day. The sun has not even risen in some parts of the world, and yet, in others, it's already setting. But our quest for perfection never stops. And with a sensitivity to social issues. And at this very moment, far from Earth, someone, somewhere, is having a Lavazza coffee, thanks to technology never seen before. Yes, today, it's a new day. We'll enjoy a good cup of coffee, and we'll take a long, rich sip. Then, we'll immediately start creating, innovating, imagining, as always. That's our way to celebrate. No time to spare. There's always more to taste.
Thank you. Now, since I'm about midway through the presentation, I will have my shot of espresso so we can get through this. Tierra. So as I mentioned, Tierra is our foundation, but it's also our brand of sustainable products. They're Rainforest Alliance certified, as well as we have a new organic product. We just keep growing our sustainable offering because I'm glad that our polling showed that you guys are also aligned, but there seems to continue to be a lot more demand. And we have it in all sorts of formats, whether it be whole bean for espresso and filter coffee or pre-ground coffee or capsules. And in addition to that, Lavazza, of course, offers a full portfolio of products to really meet a variety of needs. whether it be a Rainforest Alliance product within our premium blends, one of our single origin products, or the essential blends that are great for banquets, back of the house operations. When we work with our clients, we really try to customize and make it innovative, both on the product side and service options. We take really a 360 approach to working with you. We look at equipment that's needed, and we have so many different options, menu development and training support that's often done with our training staff, custom solutions in terms of kiosks and carts and things like that that can be designed and co-branded, and I'll get more into that in a bit. And of course, whole lines of products as well as support materials. And we deliver innovative solutions for all areas of your operation. Kind of spoke to the back of the house side already with various products and equipment solutions. Wanted to touch on that self-serve side because self-serve, or what I'd like to call one-touch barista, which in this pandemic time might be a great option. Being able to serve an espresso or espresso-based beverage by having one person there making the drinks with really the touch of a button. And of course, I still believe that the kiosks and carts for coffee destination are an option that's needed. And then we have the food destination items, which would be outlets or any place within your conference centers. And I also wanted to touch on our innovative system called Lavazza Blue. We have custom equipment that's designed for our capsule system. It includes options that are small, like I showed in the previous slide, but also large commercial units. We were really the first company to innovate for commercial units for food service for capsules. In addition to being able to produce a really high quality product, we also are able to offer what I believe is a sustainable option because the capsules are all recyclable via TerraCycle, and then in addition to that, they're all there's zero waste with the capsule program. And then one of the newer innovative brewing solutions really dates from something that's been around for decades, for really many years. It was what I started the presentation with, which was a Chemex or a pour over, which is really a high experience. Some of you may have had that experience in a coffee shop, and it delivers an excellent cup of coffee. Now there is a system called the Seraphim that's been developed, which really can kind of duplicate that, and it combines the art and science of batch brewing. As you can see here, it's a pretty cool system to put on a mobile cart to wheel out into various areas. I see there was a question asking if they're available in Canada. I believe they are, and that's something we can definitely follow up with you on to make sure. But the Seraphims are really, they're not seen a lot yet, so I think anybody that would bring them in would still be thought of as very much an innovative leader in brewing technology. And of course, I have to speak to cold brew. Cold brew is a great way to add something to your beverage offering that is certainly on trend, but also something that really delivers a different experience. Usually, cold brew does not take away; it only adds to coffee offerings. People that drink cold brew might drink it at a different day part. So Lavazza's cold brew is 100% Colombian, very high quality product, Rainforest certified. And the system that you used is pretty unique too. You really have no need for a nitrogen tank at all because we have an onboard gas generation technology system. So basically the system itself generates the nitrogen to produce the nitro coffee. It's really a turnkey solution, allowing you to really capture a business that you may not get otherwise in the coffee area. And then, of course, custom mobile carts and coffee service, definitely something that we can support and create. It adds creativity, flexibility, and innovation to really elevate any beverage service. It also gives you a way to really promote and upsell a revenue generating opportunity with your clients, because you can give them really customize their beverage offering if they want just filter coffee, or if they want to have espresso based beverage. you can be very flexible with that, or add iced coffee, a variety of different things. And then I spoke to training earlier. I think there's really 4 things that really make coffee great. Obviously, you have to start with great coffee, which is the agricultural roasting and packaging all together. You also have to have good equipment and water, so that's kind of 2 and 3, and you need to have proper training. We actually have 2 U.S. training centers, one in New York City, one in Los Angeles that's about to open hopefully in June. We have 4 professional coffee trainers, which is exceptional and great because those are traveling folks that can come out and train your team on the beverages, on the product, and on all variety of different things, and of course, national service. So I think we have some questions. Are the products available in Canada? Yes, we definitely have a team up in Canada, and we can certainly support on that. Any other questions? I think we had a video, but maybe I'm out of time. I had another video that I wanted to close with, but that might not have gotten added. We have a new campaign. Oh, it is loading. Okay.
Earth is our love. The colors of nature, the stunning landscapes, the energy of the people. Every day, this amazing planet awards us with its beauty and its endless richness. And our beloved coffee is certainly one of her most precious gifts. That's why we created Tierra. Today, Tierra is a line of products coming from 100% agricultural holdings that respect the culture, the work, and the passion of local farmers. You can call it another way to express our creativity. We prefer to call it sustainable excellence.
Great. So I guess at this point, does anyone have additional questions? I did have another video, but I think there might have been some confusion. We actually launched a new campaign about humanity in this pandemic era, which is pretty cool, but it's available through LinkedIn and some other social medias that we can definitely show you. But it's at this point, I would open it up to any questions that anyone may have.
Let's take a look, Lana, and see if we have any more. I certainly have got a question for you, but let's check. Yeah, we do have one. Let's bring that up.
Yeah, thanks, Susan, for the question. So in terms of bottled and canned products, believe it or not, we are in the process of developing some, canned coffee, iced coffee, lattes, and things like that. In terms of the timeline when they're available, it was just announced during this pandemic period that they're under development. So probably will be 2021, but we definitely will stay in touch with you on that. Great question, and certainly relevant pre-pandemic and probably more relevant today.
Now, you touched upon the the changing scenarios in regards to coffee service, throughout the presentation, Lana. But just the simplest of questions, really, from me on behalf of our members. If any of our members want to evaluate their permanent refreshment break stations, both in terms of the layout and the equipment, but also in regards to those connections with attendees at meetings and that hands-free service versus self-serve, do you offer advice or consultancy that will address all of that as one service?
Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't speak to that too much during the poll, but absolutely, we have already had conversations about equipment companies that are working on developing touchless service, even potentially using a iPhone or some sort of other smartphone to interface with a machine so that you could basically choose your beverage, put the cup under, and you wouldn't touch the machine at all. So that is, I know, under development. Lavazza, for the most part, doesn't manufacture the equipment, but we work with a ton of different equipment companies, and we are definitely available to consult. We're currently consulting with a number of clients right now on just that. The the reason I brought up a lot of what we're hearing is that people are not eliminating, because obviously coffee is important to everyone, but that they're not eliminating like traditional filter coffee, but they may be having an attendant there to pour it. So you have one person pouring the coffee and handing it to the guests. So that would be the thing that I think is happening most in the interim, until maybe technology reaches the point where you can truly have the touchless service.
Well, many of our members are going through, the resetting out of those permanent refreshment break stations at the moment. So it's great to know that you can step in and offer them help in being able to work through the various configurations. One incredibly important question that has just come in from our Canadian friends. I referenced that wonderful discount that you gave to all of our attendees here, but is it available in Canada?
Unfortunately not, because we're not set up to ship up there through this is the site that we've offered is a brand new B2B site that we've actually developed during this strange 2.5 month period we've all been living through, or 3 months or whatever. So not yet. That could change. We certainly do a lot of business. We love our Canadian customers and friends up there. So that could change at some point.
I wouldn't worry too much, because I know Lena very well. Lena, just order it, get it sent to Jason McKeechin in Colorado, and then he'll bring it to Dallas in March for you. There we go. We've got the answer for you. But
there we go. Yeah, be creative, right? And innovative.
Lana, you've been an incredible partner. You were one of the first that I called when we went virtual, and you committed to the journey with us. So thank you for that. Thank you for delivering a session today for us. We are excited to have you with us in March next year, where I know you'll bring lots of those cool coffee products, including the cart. And we'll see you in the flesh there. But thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of Virtual Connect. We appreciate everything.
Thank you, and thanks for having us. And I also wanted to give a quick shout out to your team there, Kate and Mady, who helped so much on the technology side, and to my team who helped me with the presentation. So thanks to everybody, and look forward to working with all your members. So reach out if we can help you with anything, please.
We appreciate that. Thank you, Lana.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I'd like to move on to the next part of the program. It's my pleasure, though, now to take an opportunity. Remember, we've been talking about the Great IACC Bake Off, or as we're now referring to it, the Great IACC Lockdown Bake Off competition. It is time to announce our winner now in regards to that. So $150 of Williams-Sonoma vouchers will be winging its way to our worthy winner. And let's do the great unveil. We go, Anna Hess in Chicago. So Anna, you have won a beautiful, exquisite, detailed delight there. However, I have to confess, I've looked at it close up. I have absolutely no idea what it is. So I know you're online. Put it in the chat. By all means, share the recipe as well with everybody. But congratulations on winning the Great IACC Bake Off. $150 is coming your way. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, now we are moving on with the show.
Hi everybody, joining you from Deloitte University Benchmark Hospitality. We are senior managers in conference services.
We are very honored and privileged for the opportunity to attend this year's virtual conference.
We have found inspiration and learned so much in each of the sessions that we've attended and can't wait to implement them when we reopen.
We hope IACC builds upon the hybrid virtual meeting concept and applies it to meetings in the future so we can all attend again.
So I think it's important to say right at the outset, it's going to be okay. Yes, I think our business dropped like turning off a light switch, and using the analogy of a dimmer switch for its return is unfortunately what we're faced with. But I also believe there's so many opportunities. So what do I see for the immediate future? Face-to-face meetings, yeah. In-person collaboration will be more important. In fact, I think companies will crave it when we return, and perhaps a more technology leveraged hybrid version of that meeting is really okay. Our meeting capacities will be reduced in the short term, so leveraging and upselling technology to fill that void is a good thing. Embrace it and then can build on it. Superhuman sales teams and meeting planners, all the normal accoutrements around delivering a great meeting will still be in play, but with more stuff. I think more flexibility with contracts, giving our customers more options, and they're going to ask for it, and we're going to need to deliver on it. Working with, I'm going to be polite, streamlined budgets. Budgets are going to be reduced, and we're going to have to be more creative. I think focused attendee rosters with just the right mix to maximize collaboration and deliver on meeting goals is going to be the focus for our customers as they come back. And then of course, new safety standards to ensure the guest well-being, but does not suppress the meeting experience. It's a fine tipping point. We've got to get that right. And then I think obviously, fairly obvious to say, I think regional meetings will be on the increase in the short term. We may not have chosen to be in the current predicament we're in, but I believe we'll come out of this with more innovation, better processes, and a more profitable and sustainable business model. I really do think it's going to be okay. I mean that.
Hello, I'm here to talk to you about how we as a community in IACC can help give back to the community even virtually this year. So while we can't get together to feed the city until March, from now until March, TangoTab is the company that we partner with to feed the city. They have an app, and following the conference, we'll all get login information for the IACC landing page of this app. And basically how it works is that they work with restaurants all across the US in over 250 cities, thousands of restaurants, some major corporations such as Starbucks, Wendy's, Subway, other small local restaurants in your community. Basically what happens is as we check into those restaurants through this app, points are accumulated. At the end of the month, the points that we calculate are then meals are provided for TangoTab to distribute out to the homeless for every time that we've checked into one of those restaurants. So it's super exciting to know that even during this time, as restaurants are starting to reopen across the states, we can actually help them give back to the homeless as well. At the end of the year, when we get together in March, we'll see as an IACC community how many meals we were able to feed together. So thank you for contributing. We're really excited about this opportunity, and I can't wait to see in March how many meals we've made together.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Team Deloitte and Neil. And I am just looking so forward to our Feed the City event in Dallas. And I'm super excited that we can start helping now. All right. And we're going to end this amazing 4 days the same way we started, by bringing back Cindy Novotny and Stacy Geyer, that boost of energy that we all need to get through this together. Please welcome back the incomparable Cindy Novotny and Stacy Geyer, and as they talk to us at our last session of V Connect about standing out in a crowd. Cindy and Stacy, welcome.
Well, hello, IACC.
Hello.
I took my scarf off so I would look like I had a different outfit on. So, anyway, I want to welcome all of you here again. And I want to say we are thrilled to be closing this out. I don't know about you, but I have had an incredible time watching the speakers. I've loved the videos. I think the karaoke with the board was just a hoot. And now we're going to talk about how to seriously make sure that as we come out of this, and even in the last little bit, few weeks, maybe for some, maybe a month for others, that we know how to stand out in a crowd. I mean, I think that you have seen how this entire IACC community came together virtually, and people that were not used to being on video, were not used to doing these sorts of things either, because, you know, let's be honest, we love to be in a conference center. We love to be with you and walking around, but, you know, we figured we had to like make it work. So we did. And now we have to look at, how do you personally stand out in a crowd? You know, your brand is really important. The hotel or conference center, resort that you work for, they have an incredible reputation. But I'm here to tell you that your personal ability to stand out is a combination of every single thing you've heard. You've heard about marketing and personal branding. You've heard about sales from us and how to be adaptable. I chatted with you right at the very beginning about how to make sure you really paid attention to all your social media during this, because you will be judged coming out of it. So now we're really going to take a look at what that means. So today we're going to give you some opportunity, and don't start getting like, oh, I'm tired now, I've been on this too long. You've got to do some role plays, even if you're doing it with your dog. Okay. Just put up your phone and make sure you talk into it, because if you were with us, I'd be calling on you. I mean, I wish we could open it up to all of you, because I know some of you that would just love to bounce on with me. I mean, if you want to put it in the chat box and say, look, I'll volunteer to do a role play. I don't know. Mark may allow you to get in. Nancy may keep you out, but Mark might say, let him in. But anyway, we're going to talk about crafting a value-based elevator pitch. Now, we all know that we've gone through so much training on elevator pitches, and I've heard people say, oh, that is so outdated. Well, that's ridiculous, because it's not. It means that you have to have the ability in a very short amount of time to be able to get your point across about what you are, who you are, and what you represent. You also have to remember that body language, even on all of these virtual meetings. I mean, Stacy and I just have to laugh. I mean, we've been on a lot of them. We started this morning. We did another virtual conference in between all of this. I mean, we've been going back and forth. It's been a day. And I just will say that some people, they don't get it. I mean, I get that we're kind of all at home and okay, casual dress, but at some point you have to know that how you set up, how you smile, how you say hello is very, very important. I mentioned on my opening that although we may not be able to shake a hand, and I can't wait till I can, a gentleman can tip his hat. You can smile with your eyes. You can still have a voice that says hello. You also have to know that when you're asked to speak, so this will be over before you know it, but you are probably going to be asked to do a few more of these virtual types of site visits. You've heard about all the new technology. You have to be able to calm your energy down. And I know a lot of people that say to me, well, there's no way you ever are nervous. Okay, I'm nervous every day. Like, I wake up nervous. I roll out of bed nervous. And I got to tell you that nervousness, that helps me create the energy it takes for me to deliver to you. And I work on it. It's intentional. It's intentional. And that's what I want you to think about. I have to say that, our partner, Dave Hanna, in our restaurant, he graduated with a degree in sports psychology. So he makes me read all the sports books and, you know, baseball books and all this. And, you know, I read them all. And, you know, he said to me, because we are going through so much and we're changing and we're looking at some unbelievable catering opportunities now that we've proven to our entire community that we've got this. He said to me, I said, you know, maybe I'm too nervous. I think we might be biting off more than we can chew. He said, look, we got to practice harder than when we're in the game. And I believe that strongly. We've got to practice harder. And that means you've got to take that nervous energy that we have and you've got to make sure that we are putting it into that positive energy. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Stacy, because as you know, we certainly want to make sure that we get you involved with some polling questions. So take it away, Stacy.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. So keeping in mind what we just talked about with regard to the elevator pitch, let's ask the first question, and that is, do you currently have that 30-second, you know, elevator speech that you can clearly articulate when meeting a prospective client for the first time? So it's a yes or no, or you're not sure of what that speech would sound like. So go ahead and just take a second. Looks like the majority have one. Excellent.
I do think it's funny. The minute you ask it, one person went on right away. Yes. Like they knew that before they knew it, right?
Yes. Okay. So 13% was no. Okay, good. Thank you for your honesty. All right. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, sorry. So what we want to do is during this time frame, you know, while we're still gearing up, is really think about that. Think about what that 30 seconds, if you and I are in a elevator and I ask you what you do or who you represent, can you, you know, just kind of rattle that off to me in that 30-second elevator speech? So give some thought to that for those who were honest and said that they don't know what that would sound like. So I love, you know, this next quote by Tiffany Bova. She's the author of Growth IQ, fantastic book if you haven't had the opportunity to read it. But her quote is, remember, how you sell matters. What your process is matters, but how your customers feel when they engage with you matters more. Think about that. Think about any of the interactions that you have on a personal level or out, you know, with a business, doing business, and you're engaging with a salesperson or an employee of a business. And how do they make you feel? Are they memorable? And Cindy brought up body language, and I won't say what retailer it is, but it's one of the only retailers that are open right now, and I may be wearing their colors, but they, I think, feel that because they have the mask on, that they don't have to make eye contact with you, that they don't have to engage you or say, you know, how are you, or may I help you? They just ignore you as you walk by. So that's my feeling now about that retailer. It's like, wow, I mean, maybe they felt like they were forced to be friendly before. So with that, we have another question, and that is, you know, how would your customers describe you when they engage with you? Would they say that you're warm and friendly? Would they say that you're just very business-like and get right down to, you know, the points that need to be discussed? Or could they say, and be honest again, could they say that you're not always 100% engaged because maybe your mind's going 100 different directions? Thank you for the honesty. I always like that.
I'm going to give them some real truth here. This is the real stuff. Okay.
89. Okay. Excellent.
All right. So here's the point. All right. I want a thumbs up to come across if you are known for your conversation. People always say, oh, I could talk to you forever. Go ahead. Give me an emoji thumbs up. Conversation. Okay. All right. Good. Good. Okay. Now, if you are known because you are like, people say to you, and just You hear this. You are honestly one of the nicest people I've ever met. Go ahead, give me a thumbs up. You're nice. Okay. Not quite as many as nice. Okay. Now, how about you are so funny. I love being with you. You make me laugh all the time. You're so funny. Anybody? No one's funny? No?
I am.
One person. I love that person. I wish I could read the name. It goes so fast. 2 funny people. Okay. All right. Now, I want you to be honest. And my thumb would go up if I could do it. Have you ever had a customer say to you, "Are you paying attention to me?" No? Am I the only one in the room? Okay. Does down mean yes, they said it to you, or down means like, why would they ever? Because I had a customer say to me on a phone call, "It doesn't seem like you're focused." Now, I was so embarrassed. I mean, can you imagine? I literally went, "Oh, no, I'm focused." I wasn't focused. I was taking notes, but I was multitasking. I was listening, but I wasn't really that focused. And that's where I do think we have to take into consideration that every single day, it's showtime. Every day you pick up the phone, when you're back face to face with people, every day it's let's get back to work, right? So I look at it this way. Every single one of us have to advance our relationships a little bit more in order to elevate our position within certain accounts so we can evolve them and get more business. I mean, that's all it's about, my friends, okay? I mean, at the end of the day, you want people to like you, you're happy, you're nice, you're gracious, you're a good host, but we're doing all that to book some business. And I get it. And there are customers that I will have over to my house for dinner every single day. And there's a bunch that you love and they could be your good friends. And then there's a few, it's like, wow, you have to take a deep breath. I mean, they're the customer. When I worked for Disney many, many years ago, I learned a lesson that said the customer may not always be right, but they're never wrong because they're the customer. So it doesn't really matter whether I like that person's style or personality, or they're kind of tough and they push me. It doesn't really matter. What matters, right, is that I get them to really want to work with me. That's what matters. And that is so vitally important. So I look at elevating your presence, and I look at elevating this also virtually, because right now I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about this virtual presence, because this is not going to go away. I don't think. Now, let me make a point of this. I think virtual meetings are not here forever. Okay. Sorry if some of you love them. I want us back in the hotels, by the way. All right. I'm all about that and the revenue. I think there'll be some hybrid for a while, as I said earlier. But I think we will be on face-to-face calls with clients and partners and committees and boards forever. No one is ever going to go back to, let me just get on a conference call where I'm not looking at your face and seeing you roll your eyes when I come up with an idea that you think is absolutely ridiculous. Okay. This to me is going to be forever. So when you are on and you're present and you're virtually on, you have to look at the camera. It's good to be able to stand up. Now, we are seated because we've been doing so many of them. And I did put my camera up. It was so high. Stacy was going to put hers on the refrigerator. I said, Stacy, that might be a problem. What if like the ice machine goes off and then like the camera is like this? And so we did some role plays and we decided that we just had to sit up straight and make sure we're looking at you. Now, I use my hands way more than Stacy or most people. I know I had to watch it because I got feedback that sometimes my hands were just like, rah, 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 and people are like, you're making me dizzy. Okay. So we have to learn to use our gestures in a better way. You have to speak very clearly. You have to remember that when you're on a call with clients, you might have 3 or 4 of their committee members on. If you're using slides, try to keep them clean. Using any photos is better. And that way you begin to show them that you're so professional before we ever get to the point of meeting or beginning to book your business. You also have to watch your engagement, because sometimes you're looking down, and I'm doing it too, because I'm taking notes. So I was on one where there was like 80 people. They were all on the camera. I had 4 other trainers on. I was writing notes so that I could then use what the person ahead of me said. And I caught myself constantly looking up saying, I just want everyone to know I'm jotting down some things that Stacy said, because I'm going to come back to that. Because if you're on a meeting with a client and you're looking down, they're wondering, like, again, are you paying attention to me? We have to remind ourselves about our manners, body language, and then when we can, shake hands. And I'm going to be shaking hands. I mean, I'm going to be wearing very beautiful gloves, but we do have to remember it's still going to be firm. They can't take that away from us. Oh yeah, they can take a lot of things away from us, but they're not going to take away that. It might be a while, but I'm going to be definitely shaking hands. So body language says a great deal about you. And part of it is our whole dress. It's our demeanor. And this is more for the ladies. And sorry, ladies, okay? And I'm with you. I think we have to really pay attention to some of the things we wear, because on camera, it is amazing how you don't really realize. But then, forget camera, even when we get back on property, what we wear, how we look, how we carry ourselves definitely says a lot about who we are. So think about how we need to clear the fog, okay? It has been a foggy 10 weeks, right? I mean, I didn't even know it was Memorial Day this weekend. I mean, everybody said, "Oh, what are you doing for Memorial Day?" I went, "Well, when is that?" They said Monday. I go, "Oh, I get a day off." Wow. I guess that's why I didn't have any webinars booked. But I think somebody in Europe booked one because it's not their Memorial Day. So, it's like my Thanksgiving. They just booked me on that too. But what you need to do is remember that your ability is to role model how to build relationships is very important. Those of you that are directors listening to me, I really need you to really back up and help your younger salespeople, and quite frankly, even some of your older salespeople, on how they entertain, how they communicate, how they actually engage in conversation. Do they need better conversation starters? Again, I'm going to go back to the whole, intentional, focus of training. And I want you to think about some of those best practices. And I want you to think about the fact that, we don't give enough feedback. And because of that, we allow people to make some of these mistakes, and you don't want to do that. On one of our sessions earlier today, one of our account managers was on and texted and told one of the trainers, lift up your laptop. It's too low. It looks bad behind you. Nobody takes offense to that because it's being real, and it's helping us really make it more personal and make it count. We also have to look at how we're positioned. As everybody rolls back, everybody's got their COVID-19 plans. Everybody's put it on their website. Some are, documentaries, and others are very clever with little icons and making people feel good and safe. But this is where we need key leadership. We really need leadership to make sure that we have all the answers and that we are not in a fog, that as we are looking at standing out and making a difference, we stand out as an organization. Because I was on a call. Obviously, I'm not going to say who this customer was, but I was on a financial call with financial meeting planners yesterday, and they were all from New York. And there was about 20 of them. And one specifically talked about a hotel that was not handling themselves properly during this in front of everybody else. Now, it happened to be a hotel that I work with. I, again, am just facilitating the meeting, and so I started to ask some questions, and I said, I'd love to talk about this offline, to try to get them to stop. But I will tell you right now, I got off the phone and I called the senior vice president of sales and marketing. I shared, confidentially, this is what some of the scuttlebutt is about how you're handling some things. And I said, and quite frankly, it's not your salesperson's fault. This is your fault. This is the GM's fault. This is the senior executive's fault. They should have all those answers so that we clear the fog. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back to Stacy to talk a little bit about that.
So we do have a question that we wanted to ask you, and now more than ever, when we go back into full swing and getting our key leadership involved, obviously for our new processes and procedures, but our customers are also going to have questions. They're also wanting to know, is everything secure and safe and sanitary and whatnot? So that might mean having to have your key leadership involved. So when presenting to a prospective client, and let's think about what I called it Tuesday 2020 BC, before COVID, but when presenting to a prospective client or conducting a site visit, do you typically involve key leadership, such as your general manager or your executive chef? So those people who might be able to have a greater impact to your presentation, somebody who might be able to speak to some things that maybe you're not 100% confident in talking about. So it looks like thank you. They prefer not to be involved. I have worked for some of those key leaders that are like, don't call me unless the building's on fire. So thanks for that. So it looks like 72% are getting them involved, 23 not. So that's a good thing. That's a good position to be in. So with that, let's move on to our next, which is talk.
Sorry. It was a quick moment.
Yeah, we need to go back one more. Nope, no, we're good. Sorry.
No, I thought I was good.
There we go. We're good. So with moving forward here is talking about your own personality, your own culture, your company culture, your organization, your destination. We really want that personality to come through. Also, your personalization as far as being creative. And now more than we're going to need to get even more creative, think outside the box. I mean, just watching the news and some of these states with restaurants opening up. And I think Cindy spoke to it on Tuesday with mannequins. And I thought that was brilliant. There was one in Thailand who put panda bears in all of the empty seats that they weren't going to fill. So things like that, but high emotional impact, really something that is out of the box, not going to be followed by your comp set. And then we have to have a clear position within the market. Who are you? What is your brand statement? What is it that you stand for? What do you embrace as an organization, as a sales representative? And then we have to make sure we carry that messaging through every single thing that we do. And so that's what's most important right now as we go back to after COVID, I guess.
And let me just before you move on to the next one, let me make a point about that and tie it back into the poll of leaders that aren't involved, okay? I cannot, and I'm glad it was 75% are, but I'm here to tell you, no one right now can be figuring this out on our own. So when you look at personality and personalization and positioning, this is a team discussion. This is when leadership has to have a very clear vision of the future. I can't expect my team to figure out how we're going to get out of this. I need their thoughts. I need their involvement, but I guarantee you they're looking to me to go, what's next? I am brainstorming, but I can't ever say to them, I don't know, send me your plans and then I'll give it some thought. So this is really critical because, how we personalize things in the next few months is also going to be very important in standing out as an individual and as a hotel. And that's going to make a significant difference in who wants to work with you and who doesn't want to work with you. So back to you, Stacy.
Thank you. So we'll go to our next slide if you want to do that, Cindy. Thank you. And we're going to talk about, experiences. Experiences are the new currency. And so what that means is that, what was important pre-COVID as far as, the hotel, the venue, the location. People want experiences. They have been pent up for, I think we're going on like 6 months now. It feels like it, but probably 10 weeks. But people want to get out and have experiences. I say to my husband, let's just go drive somewhere. Like, let's just go drive and walk down the street. And he looks at me like I am crazy, but I told the group this morning, like, I'm taking hikes. I'm not a hiking person by any means, but it's just that I want to have that experience. I want to have the interaction with people. I want to see people. I want to see people living their lives. And so that's what our customers and our guests are wanting. And we have to be able to tell that really great story of what that experience is going to be for them, because that's what they're going to be focused on once we get back into the full swing of things. Did you have anything to add, Cindy?
No, and I think, we had a great session on branding and storytelling and, how you look at your whole image. And one of the things that we're focusing on in this session is more on the sales process. So when you think about it, that really rich kind of story that you're going to tell is going to bring that experience alive. And I said earlier on one of our other sessions, with all of you, that a video it takes like the place of like 1.8 million words. I mean, you do a couple minute video and show something or tell a story, or have your executive chef tell a story, or your fitness instructor, and it makes more sense than anything we could be sending out. I mean, I've even asked a couple of our clients that we're doing some work with on helping them open. I said to the general manager, we need a video clip of you. And a few of them, why? I said, because you're like the captain of the ship. I just want to hear a word or two, like, we're welcoming you back and we've got all these things in place. You don't have to read the whole 28, COVID policies, but what you can do is get them a little excited. And by the way, it would be good for your team to see you putting this out there as well. So it's those things that when you look at detailed, rich stories, that's what we're talking about.
Right. So we have another question, and that is, are you comfortable telling those detail-rich stories about your property and or your destination when you're presenting? Can you clearly kind of just roll off your tongue as you're, talking about the experiences that they're going to have when they do arrive to your property? 100%. Wow.
Yeah. See, this is what I would love. I would just love one of you to say, "Oh, I'll chat with you, Cindy." I love to just really listen to some of these. So you can call me later and we can just do a live role play together, because I love to hear them. I love to also challenge. I love to also say, you know what? We can make sure we're going to try to maybe up the ante on this. So I think that's also really, really important. So when you think about it, since all of you are doing it, it's important because reviews don't count as much anymore. So it doesn't matter, awards are great, all that. But again, people buy from people they trust. People buy from people that they know. And that is when you make it really personal. This is when you are stepping in and saying, I absolutely know you. I know what you like, and I can give this to you. But if you don't know them, if you haven't asked the right questions, if you really haven't built that kind of relationship, then you can't do that. This is also where asking for a referral should not be hard if your customers love you. It should not be hard. So for every single customer you have, you need to make sure we have all those referrals in place. So let's look at what makes you unique, okay? Think about it. Everybody loves you, right? But here's the thing. It's not your customer's job to remember you. It's your obligation to make sure they never forget you. This is critical. And so everything you've heard about your presence on social media, everything you've heard about how to make sure your brand is alive, how to make sure you are connecting is the most important thing. Taking everything you have learned at this IACC conference and putting it all together and actually practicing it is going to make you unique. So we've got another poll right here. So I'll let you go ahead with the poll.
Okay, it's actually, okay, well, we'll do it now. So thinking about how often you are speaking with your customers and your top accounts, thinking about pre-COVID, how many times a year do you typically reach out? 1 to 2 times, 3 to 5, 6 or more? Excellent. So it looks like half of you are reaching out 6 or more times.
And
I think
this correlates to the question we asked in our first session about how often you post. But this is a little different. This plays on your actual reaching out. So we've got about only 25% of you, which is a lot, are just kind of 1 or 2 times. 6 to more times is about 38%. I can share these right here so everybody can see. Can you see that? Yep. So go ahead, Stacy.
Well, Cindy, I think just leading into the next slide, I thought maybe telling your story and what our policy is real quickly.
On how we rise above the clutter. And some of you've heard this, and I think I might have even brought it up last time. Not sure. But I'll tell it again because I'm dead serious. So we have 5 salespeople in our organization of 40 people, and they are based, one's in Houston, we've got a few here, and then we've got one over in Asia. And I am going to tell you from like the bottom of my heart that I'm not exaggerating, and Stacy knows that. If you haven't reached out and touched a customer in 6 months, I mean, every 6 months, and I'd rather 2 months, 3 months, but twice a year to me is not a big, that's like the least you could do. And they call in and they don't ask for you. It goes to whoever answers the phone. Because let's get real. Your job, if you're in sales listening to this, is to rise above this clutter. Transaction, I can set up a call center. I need people that remember your name. I need people, even if the client says to me, and it's, May, we're not going to look at anything probably till, I don't know, probably December. Okay. I put that into the CRM, but 6 months from now is not December. And I'm going to do some kind of reach out. I'm going to find an article that would relate to them. I'm going to send a note that says, I just read this. I thought you'd be interested. That's at least a reach out. You see, you have to be able to rise above the clutter if you want to be known, if you want people to remember who you are and how you are going to actually engage with them in the future. So when we look at the decision makers and finding the decision makers, right now, this is absolutely going to be a little bit of messy, I think, really. And I say that genuinely because there's a lot of planning teams that now maybe only have 1 or 2 people. There's a lot of senior planners that are working so much on executive things right now that there are other people that you've never talked to are working on some of the events that you might have dealt with the other planner on. So when you are in front of them and they're not all titled meeting planner, events manager, events coordinator, there's accidental planners. It's my boss has told me to do this, and I could be, I could be a friend of somebody and they're just going to outsource this meeting to me. You have to make a difference. If you're on a call like this that we're on right now, and there's 4 or 5 of you on the grid, on the Zoom, and you're putting all your attention to one person because you think they are more important, big mistake. You have to develop relationships with every single stakeholder, and you've got to do that behind the scenes. This is what sales is. It's like a chess game, not a checkers game. So your customer may say to you, we are canceling all events and meetings through the middle of next year. Okay, all right. Now, there's nothing you can do. They've said they're doing that. So you've, pushed everything away, done your cancellations, and you've written that down. So who else do you know in that organization that you can talk to? It's not about going above somebody's head. Don't get wiggy here now and think, oh, there's no way I would go over their head. I didn't say that I was going to call the boss and say, now Mary said you're not doing any meetings until mid-2021. Is that the truth? No. I'm going to lobby. I'm going to work it. I'm going to map out the people I know. I'm going to talk to my GM, my director of sales and marketing. I'm going to talk to food and beverage. I'm going to see who else we know. Because if you don't, done, just done. Okay. So one contact, if you're looking at your CRM and you see contact name and it's one contact, so risky, I can't even tell you. I can't even tell you how unbelievable scary that is. All right. Second, when a sales manager is the only one that knows the clients, nobody else has met them. Nobody talks to them. Every time they come in the hotel, that one sales manager takes them to dinner. No director, no GM has ever gone to dinner. And when sometimes the director says, oh, I think I'll join you for dinner. Why? Why would you go with me? It's my client. No, it's our client. And I do want to get to know them. And we can't have just one person in the hotel that the client loves. They got to love more of us. So I do believe you have a question about decision makers. Is that right?
We do. So our question is, on average, how many contacts within a top account do you have relationships with? Is it just the one main contact, 2 to 3, 4 or more? Okay. Looks like we're right in the middle here. 2 to 3. Good.
But the 10 to 11% of you that only have one, you know your job now. So your job is to go back and to get more and you can do that right now. I mean, calling, looking around, looking on LinkedIn. Those of you that have 2 or 3, I applaud you. That's about 77%, which is phenomenal. And all I ask is that you make sure other people within the hotel or the brand know them as well. Those of you with 4 or more contacts, again, the same thing. So when we have the contacts, can if I said to you right now, okay, and if we were in a classroom, I would do this, all right? I would say, so Mary, what's one of your top accounts? Deloitte. All right, great. Can you call your customer right now in Deloitte from your mobile phone? No. Well, I can call my customers from my mobile phone. Okay. Now you might be thinking, you might be nervous now. Okay, this is great. Now all the salespeople are going to have it on their mobile phone. Then they're going to steal them when they leave. They're going to steal them when they leave anyway. That's why you need to have more people involved. But a real customer that you are really connected with is going to pick up the phone and say, hi, Cindy. I can text. I've been texting so many of our clients and they're saying, hi, I can't talk right now. Can I call you back in an hour? Send me an Outlook invite. That's when you know you really have not just a contact, but you have a relationship with those people for sure. So looking at that, let me go ahead to the next slide. And that is about getting ahead of the time curve. Do you want to go ahead and talk about that, Stacy?
Sure, absolutely. So again, a lot of times our customers, they have done their homework. They have done their research. They've been on our website. They've been on LinkedIn. So they know a lot about us. And so we have to think about when they do pick up that phone, I have to make the most of it, right? So I have to be able to respond faster than my competition. I have to get in front of that customer before my competition does, because based on what we have out there, whether it's on our website, hopefully it's accurate information and it's compelling them, compelling customers to want to pick up the phone and call us. But we want to make sure that we are on it. So the same with, any blogs that you're putting out there, LinkedIn. We hear all the time, oh, I'm on LinkedIn. Having a profile on LinkedIn is not using LinkedIn. So we want to make sure we have robust profile pages and that we have accurate and updated information, and that we're constantly, updating and adding, articles and blogs to it, all of our social media. So really, anything that you're putting out there represents who you are as a brand, who you are as an organization, as a salesperson. Time is your best ticket. So I've got to be proactive, got to think, how am I going to get in front of that customer faster and quicker than my competition? But I've got to stand out. I've got to stand out and not be the typical, a lot of times I feel like we copy one another in this industry. And so how am I going to be that person that really stands out and that they really want to talk to first? Did you want to add anything to that?
Yes. And then you have a question, correct?
I think yes.
So let me just add a few things on that too. So for instance, if I am a salesperson that handles the entertainment market or the sports market, that whatever it might be, am I seriously on a regular routine of posting something fun and cool, let's say every Wednesday or every Tuesday, about sports? Have I put on, look, I love Michael Jordan, The Last Dance. I watched it. It's so great. Have I done anything that has connected me with my customers? Have I? And this is where you need to look in the mirror. And right now, it is it's more important because the phone isn't necessarily ringing. You have got to get them to think of you. This, COVID has had me doing a lot of different kinds of wild pictures and singing and things that I don't normally do on a regular basis. And I'm in California, and of course, we have the cannabis industry here, very loud, and it's an essential business. And I did a lot of work early on as soon as it went legal with a couple big cannabis companies before they were being sold. One is still now in a second kind of round of doing some different things. I learned all about my cannabis information. So the other day I was in the grocery store, and it was like, it had a picture of a marijuana plant, and I'm at the pharmacy with my husband, and I go take a picture of me with this. And he's like, okay, really, Cindy? Really? I go, yeah. So I take the picture of me with the, marijuana plant to say, stress for women, CBD oil, and let me get you to calm down and blah, blah, blah. All right. Well, the CEO and I mentioned the client we're working with, so I could say, if you want to get the best, I gave examples of the best flour, and that's not the flour you make, what I mean, the cake with. I said, if you want to get the best flour, this is the company that you want to work with. They've got the dispensaries that are the best in Orange County. Well, he called me just today, and he goes, I literally took a picture of that and we printed it out because they're open. And he said, and today I realized our salespeople are not, they're price dropping. They're not doing what they should do. And what we're going to do is we're going to hire you. We need you next week to come in and get these salespeople back on track. And I was like, yeah, a booking. Okay. Excitement, really, because here's the thing. I made him think of me because I posted something. Now, if you're not like in a state where it's legal and you're not, working with the cannabis group, I wouldn't suggest it. But I'm telling you, if you're not putting things out there that are in alignment with your market segment and your clients, you are missing huge opportunities because you're just boring, and you don't want to be that. You want to be where people remember your name. So go with it, Stacy.
Okay. So our next polling question, and this is our last final one, is what is your main source of social media visibility? LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, blogs? All of the above. Okay, looks like LinkedIn.
Most LinkedIn, yep. So
no one's blog, no blogs,
no
okay.
blog. Yeah, all right. I'm going to help you with this. Okay, so I got to get you over this, all right? So LinkedIn is that's the path of least resistance. That's the business one. It's absolutely vital, all right? And you've got to be working it. I talked about that in our last breakout session that we did on sales adaptability, all right? You must be on Instagram. And it doesn't matter if you don't handle the social market. It's not about that. All of my corporate customers are on Instagram. You've got to be on Instagram, and you've got to have a true presence. IGTV. I talked about this in our last session. Make sure you are putting things out there that allow you to be able to connect and get things, out, like talking at your hotel. If you're at the hotel, showing something that's going on, whatever it may be, you have to then look at writing blogs. Blogs are so important, and they can go right onto LinkedIn. But these are yours. Remember, this isn't going on to your company, your brand. So don't get worried about, oh, we're on brand. They don't let us do that. This is yours. And if you want to stand out, then by all means, stand out. Let people go, wow, I think of her before I even think of the name of the hotel. And that means you are becoming valuable, which is huge. So now we have an exercise, and I need you to really play with me on this, okay? All right? So who are you really? And I love to do this all the time. I love to see who people are and how they actually introduce themselves. Now, again, I can't talk to you, which is I just want to run through this virtual room and walk over and hug you and say, so who are you? But here's what I want you to do. I want you to write down in order, just like this. What is it that you do? What is the outcome of what you do? What are the benefits you bring to your clients or to the guests? So take a minute. This is what I do. What is the outcome? And what are the benefits? Would anybody be brave enough to put in the chat for us so we could see it? What you do, what is the outcome, and what is the benefit? Let's see. Okay, comma, you wrote, I lead people. Okay, so you lead people. Now, what I want you to do, comma, am I saying your name right here? And Lena, of course, I can definitely get you. So I'll stick with comma. Is I saying your right, comma? I hope I'm saying this right. Okay, I'm going to go with Lena and comma. So bottom line is I want to get this right. So comma, you lead people. Okay, what is the outcome of you leading people? All right. You inspire them. You inspire. Okay, good. Yes, help me. So I'm reading this. So you lead people, you inspire them. And then what is the benefit? Because obviously you're the director to your team. So write, if you will, what is the benefit?
Yeah, she wrote high performance.
Okay, so this is comma. She leads people, and Stacy, just write this down because it's so hard in the chat box to keep it straight, my friends. Okay, this is comma. She leads people, all right, and the outcome is that they're inspired by comma, and that makes them more productive. So you have it written down, Stacy?
I do.
All right, now we're going to go to Lena and help me make sure I have hers. What she does is she sells experiences. Okay. And then what is the outcome? Did she put that on there? Lena,
create memories.
You create memories. And then Lena, what are the benefits to your clients? You sell experiences, you create memories, and what is the benefit to the clients? She makes her clients look good. So write that down.
Got it.
So Lena sells experiences, okay? And she creates memories, and she makes her clients look good. Okay. And Matthew, I'm going to use Matthew because he came in and I just got to love it. So do you see Matthew's? Okay.
Yes.
So Matthew says, I create magical moments. That's what he does. So Matthew, I said I wasn't going to use you, but then I am. And I said, what is the outcome? And you said the guests are happy and they return. And then what benefit, Matthew, do you bring to your guests? They're happy in return, but what other benefit? He's probably thinking, you said you weren't going to call me, and now you're calling on me. They have a great meeting. Okay? All right. And Claire, see, now they're all coming in. I love this. So I'm not going to be able to do them all, but I'm here to tell you this is what I love. Claire said, you don't have to write Claire's down because we're going to use the 3 we have, but I'm just going to give you what Claire said. I'm an inspiration provider. I allow you to get creative and inspired whilst with us. And the benefit is I help you move your business forward. Okay, notice the difference. Hi, I'm Claire. I'm an inspiration provider. I allow you to get creative and inspired while you're with us. And that means I help you move your business forward. Now, what I want you to do is all of you that played with us, you're going to go in reverse. So in Claire's example, hi, I'm Claire Holiday. I just love that name, Claire Holiday. Love it. Hi, I'm Claire Holiday, and I help you move your business forward by creating an inspirational and creative event. And that is what I do for a living. I'm an inspiration provider. See how you're switching it around? So now I would love all 3 of mine. I did Claire's. So I want Matthew, Lena, and comma to switch yours around, and just come up and tell us, hi, I'm Matthew, and then start with the benefit. All right. And then go into the outcome and then end with what you do. So take a moment and type it
in. And Cindy.
Yes.
Claire is in the UK, so it's in the middle of the night. So that's how
Claire Holiday, I love you. I have now become your best friend. Definitely connect with me. I will do whatever it takes for you. Love that. Way to go, Claire. I thought it was UK with the whilst. You know what I mean? That is such nice English British. We would say while. So while you're with us, and they say whilst you're with us. All right. Okay. What do we got? Okay, here we go. Comma did hers. I'm pretending I'm comma. Hi, I am comma, and I create high performance in service by inspiring and motivating and leading people, right? See the difference? Do we have another one on there?
Matthew.
Is Matthew's up?
Matthew's is up.
Do
you want me to read it?
Yes, read it. Thank you.
It says, hi, I'm Matthew, and I'm here to help create a great meeting for you. You and your guests will leave happy through the magical moments I create.
Yes. Can I see a applause or thumbs up for these people that jumped into this conference? And for Claire, are you kidding? See the difference? Instead of, hi, I'm Cindy Novotny. I'm a sales manager and I can book your business. No, you know what I do? I absolutely help you create a meeting that's unbelievable. Your guests will leave happy, and I do it by creating magical moments. And my name is Matthew, Mrs. Matthew, to be clear. See the difference? So start introducing yourself with more passion and more pizzazz and really show what you bring to the table. We actually discount our ability to be so great because we just like, oh, I'm the national account manager. I book meetings. I handle the financial market. No, that's not what I do. What I do is I actually help you look good as a meeting planner because of my thorough, unbelievable planning of your meeting. And I do that by being the most organized, unbelievable salesperson you've ever met. My name's Cindy, and I'd love to work with you. See the difference? So let's think about how we can leave here and really, really change our story. What are the compelling reasons anybody would want to talk with you? I ask you, when I said, how many of you, when people say, oh, you're funny, oh, you're nice, oh, you're happy, and the emojis were going around, I want you to call the people closest to you. Okay? You can work with them. They can be family members. And I want you to say, I want you to write down the adjectives that best describe me. Okay? I mean, be honest, the adjectives. Some will come up with 3 or 4. Then, your mom, she'll come up with like 15. But, write down the adjectives that best describe me. And you're looking for positive ones. Make sure when you call your sister, you tell her you want positive, or your brother, because they might give a different adjective. Then you take those and you start building that compelling message, your story. You role play it. I want you to hit that, voice record on that iPhone or Samsung you have there. And I want you to introduce yourself, and I want you to practice it. Then I want you to practice that compelling message. How am I going to stand out? How am I going to be different? What am I going to do to absolutely make a significant difference? All of this allows you to get better every single step of the way. Again, as we start to close this up, and we ended a little early, and we ended the last session a little early. So I'm going to end us right about at the hour, but it'll be a little early. And of course, for Claire Holliday, my very best friend, she'll be able to take a little bit of a snooze at this point. I mentioned sports when we started out. And so this entire conference has been about practicing. It has been about education. It has been about having us break out of our box and do something completely different. We're in the meetings industry, and we went virtual. And when you think about it, it's becoming consciously competent. Winners have to practice harder than the game. You have to practice. During this time, there is no better time to practice harder than the game. Most people I know, not Stacy, of course, or any of my Matthew or Kama or Lena or Claire. Many people I know avoid stressful situations. And I know that because the minute we say we want you to try, okay, I'm kind of nervous about that. That makes me a little nervous. I actually like stress. I mean, ask Stacy. She thinks I create it for most people, but I've gotten much better, don't you think, Stacy?
You have.
But do I not raise the bar every day? We are not every day. You see, we know that stress can be very powerful. We know that stress can actually help you do a better job every day. While everyone is scrambling to try to get open and to try to get out there and to try to make a difference, you want to stand out. You want to be the ones that say, this has been a wake-up call for me. It has been a wake-up call because, I did get maybe a little lazy. Maybe I was just a little complacent. Maybe I woke up every day and I went to work and I was nice, but maybe I didn't push as hard. I said when I did the opening that everybody goes back to 0 when the rules change. I want you to really think about this journey that you've been on during this IACC V Connect. It has been incredible. The amount of work that IACC and the board and the planning committee, the conference committee put into it has been beyond compare. I want you to leave our session knowing that you don't have all the answers. We don't have all the answers. I don't want you to be nervous when a client says, I need to know something and you don't know it. I want you to do what I do. And I say, I'm vaguely familiar with that. If you'll allow me about 15 minutes, I'd love to call you right back. I just want to double check on a few things. I want you to be open. I want you to be optimistic. I want you to be deliberate. And I want you to remember that you have to have the intent to stand out. I don't want you to hide behind anything. I don't want you to be afraid. And I want you to know that this entire community is here for you. We are here for you. And I can assure you that we are coming out of this soon. And my flights are already booked. I leave June 2nd and I head to Rhode Island to do a program. And I can't tell you how excited I am. So thank you very much, everyone. We have thoroughly loved being with you, being a part of this conference. And I'll go ahead and turn it over to the master, to Nancy. Thank you.
Well, that is a heck of a way to bring it home. I am so excited to hear you're jumping black on a plane. I am very jealous. I'm right behind you. Right behind you. Cindy and Stacy, now you two definitely know how to stand out in the crowd, and we cannot thank you enough for everything over the last several days. And I love the conversation in the chat box. It is a heck of a way to bring home V Connect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you. And I've got a new word I've added to my vocabulary now. Don't get wiggy.
Don't get wiggy.
I love it. Never heard it
and I've
before.
got to be careful, Mark, because I have used some words over in England that were not good words. And they look at me, mm-mm. So even when I said wiggy, I was thinking, I wonder if that's one of those. That's okay. Don't get wiggy. Good.
No,
Well, thank you. And we'll go off camera now and let you wrap it up. So thank you very much. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, ladies.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right. All right, Mr. Cooper. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. It has been an amazing 4 days of insight and inspiration. And what's next for us all? Well, I know a couple things, and that is that this IAC tribe is resilient and strong, and this tribe knows how to stand together. And none of us can predict the future, but we sure are prepared for it. And I know we're ready to make a difference. And IAC is standing with you side by side. With so many great initiatives to support you, our social media channels and website are there with the resources you need for reopening and operating in our new world, educating and keeping your teams motivated and informed. With your support, industry research projects to define the future of our industry, regional ambassadors to bring your local IAC community together and in your local area, and the Green Star Initiative to support your sustainability goals. V Connect has been our solution to the current time, and a darn good one. But I have to say, I like bringing people together, and I think we like being together. So I cannot wait to interact with all of you and see you in Dallas in 2021. And until then, we're here with you. Now, before I turn it over to my favorite sidekick, my favorite British friend, I have many British friends, but I might have a favorite. And I have to say, these events do not come together without an extreme leader and without an amazing sense of humor. And this man has it in truckloads. Mark Cooper, I am ever so grateful for this adventure and for this partnership with you. And I will turn it over to you to bring it home.
Maverick, I'll always be your wingman. So we've thanked lots of really important people, but I want to end by thanking our members. Those 750 of you over the last 4 days that have been part of IAC Connect, because I'm going to leave this with nothing but absolute surety that this is the top 1% of meeting venue professionals in the world. You have been here, you have embraced the learning hours upon hours upon hours, but more importantly, true to the IAC community, you've shared, you've debated, you've participated, you've made this event incredible. And if we pick that energy up and we bottle it and we deliver it in Dallas, when we go to Germany, when we go to Sydney, we are just going to get better and stronger as a result of all of this. So I'm proud of you. I hope you're proud of yourselves as well. We've enjoyed it. Nancy Lindemer has been an exceptional co-MC, and considering that as America's president, normally they're asked to give 5 minutes on stage at the annual conference. Nancy has given days upon days upon days, as she has gone well over the duties that you would fulfill as a president. And as always, great fun. And if only you could see our WhatsApp group and the chat that's been going on between us over the last 4 days. The humor's been there for sure. But everyone else, thank you very much. It's my absolute pleasure to close IAC America's Virtual Connect. And we'll see you face to face soon. Bye for now.
Thanks, everybody.